Hello everyone, welcome to the Solace Podcast. My name is Finbar, my RuneScape name is Mini Finbar, and I'm the leader of Solace.
Hey guys, I'm Oy. I'm a general in Solace, and I like agility.
What's up, guys? The Bombay bad boy Burrito Brown checking in for Solace Podcast 6. Hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, I'm Ray. I'm a new co-leader in Solace.
Viewer, former rank 5 overall.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Bradfordly or Brad here. I am a Smiley in Solace, and I'm rank 884,354 in Smithing.
So, as many of you would have noticed, this podcast was delayed by 2 weeks. This was due to some technical issues on our end, and as a consequence of what happened, future podcasts will also be released on the 1st of each month. I also have an announcement to make in regards to the Solace leadership team. A co-leader position recently became available, and I am pleased to announce that Sorry Benita and Ray have both been selected as co-leaders. They are competent players, and I believe that they will make a positive contribution to the clan. As a result of their new position, they will also appear more frequently on future podcasts. To get started, what have you all been up to these past couple of weeks?
Still doing agility. I recently got 100 mil agility and top pay GHP. And I'll be continuing to do agility until I get bored.
Been doing some fishing, hit 50 mil fishing, and started doing some mining and working on agility and stuff soon in the future.
I'm gonna finish up 200 mil cooking and probably move on to some rune crafting.
I've been hunting still, and I should be getting 67. I am 67 mil hunting, and I should be getting 100 mil in a couple weeks.
I have recently hit 120 mil hunter, and I've just been hunting red chins. I've also been doing consistent tree and herb runs.
Nice, everyone. I've just been bank standing at the GE, doing crafting. I've reached the 100 mil earlier in the week, and I should hit 200 mil sometime in the middle of August. So that will be nice to finish off. To begin with the questions for this podcast, the first question we have been asked is, what are some things you would like to redo on your account if you were given the opportunity? These may include changing your skill order or becoming a pure.
Well, I wouldn't want to become a pure or anything like that because I don't like limiting my account. I guess it'd just be skill order. I'd like to be more macro efficient. I did rune crafting before I finished mining, so I'd rather finish mining. So that's about it, just be a bit more macro efficient.
I really don't like my combat stats, so I would like not train combat, but like not leave it level 1, just have low combat, so maybe like Volney's account, something like that, keep it low. As for skill order, I did fishing first and stuff like that, so I'm happy with my skill order. I wouldn't change it.
I think I'd want to kind of train like one skill at a time instead of going for something like 70 base, then 80 base, then 90 base. I think it'd be kind of fun to have really low stats. Just get each one up to 99 at a time.
I personally regret maxing. I would have preferred to focus on skills that I actually enjoyed rather than doing them all, because, after max I felt really obligated to do whatever was the fastest method, and I really don't enjoy that style of play.
I regret 3 things. The first thing, I regret getting 2 fire making because it looks retarded. Number 2, I regret doing 200 mil agility at Artie because I feel like it's like 10 times more manly to do it at Dorgish Khan. And I also kind of regret like getting combat. I really like the idea of being a level 3 skiller. It's kind of like pure and looking, I guess.
I don't regret maxing, but I think my skill order was quite flawed. My first 99 was construction, which was a waste of my cash. I then did rune crafting and followed up by Slayer. I could have done fishing before agility, before rune crafting, which would have been more efficient, but I'm happy with how it turned out overall. Moving on from that, though, our next question is, what is one method you would like to remove from the game?
It's not really
going to a training method.
Okay. It's not really a method in general, but it's removing how you get agility and strength XP from fishing. I really don't like how you get XP when you're not training a skill directly.
I'd remove wines from cooking because I feel like the XP rate's like too high for like how AFK it is, and like also it's really cheap at the moment as well, so it's like quite viable. I feel like you should have to put effort in to get higher cooking XP rates, so yeah, I'd probably take wines out.
I probably want to take away Mellow Mine because it's quite fast right now, and you make a lot of money from it.
Pretty salty about this, but yeah, I think I'd like it if they removed rooftop agility, just because I feel like it made agility extremely easy, and Brad can confirm I complain about it on a daily basis.
Yes, you do. Well, since I like complain about the game too much, I'm gonna say like 5 things. But okay, so basically the first thing I would want to remove is alts. Like I really wish alts were still against the rules, and I wish you should be able to do them or use them because I feel like the top page would be a lot more competitive. Second, I would remove Zulrah because it devalued like 5 skills, especially on Ironman. It took away a lot of the hours for maxing and such. Rooftops, obviously, it went from 200 mil agility being a loss to you now make profit, and it's a lot less quick intensive. Slayer updates in general. I mean, in the beginning of old school, Slayer was like a 25k per hour skill, and now it's like 40k plus. So it took away like a couple thousand hours from 200 mil. So I heavily devalued it. And yeah, as always said, agility from fishing. I'm not really a fan of getting XP while you aren't actually training the skill.
Interesting. Personally, I would like to remove the RD9 training method for thieving. I feel like it's too AFK and it's too easy, and it kind of devalued the thieving skill as a whole. Also slightly salty because I'd be a higher thieving rank if it had never been added, but oh well. Our next question, which is somewhat related actually, is we've been asked, what was your first 99 skill, and what was your first 200 mil skill if you have 200 mil XP in a stat?
My first 99 skill was fletching, and my first 200 mil skill was cooking, so yeah, I got the easiest one out of the way first.
My first 99 was fishing. I AFK'd it though because I was like a noob at the time, and I haven't got a 200 mil yet.
First 99 was hunting, and I don't have a 200 mil, but that'll probably be cooking.
My first 99 was fishing. My first 200 mil is cooking.
My first 99 on RuneScape 3 was cooking. My first 200 mil on RS3 was agility. My first 99 on Oldschool was agility. My first 200 mil was agility.
My first 99 was construction, and my first 200 mil was cooking because I'm mainstream, like most other top pages. Speaking of mainstream concepts, the next question we've been asked is, how many alts do you own?
Currently I own one, but I no longer use it because I got bored of it.
I don't own any money making alts, but I guess I do have an alt. It's some shit Obby Mauler, which I just gave up on. I dumped 20 mil into it, so it actually lost me money. But yeah, I guess it is an alt.
I have an alt, just one. It was a Wyvern alt at first, but making it into a runecrafting alt now.
I've got about 25 alts. Most of them are just used for the GE, but I have one of them that has decent or potential stats for wyverns or runecrafting, but not quite there yet.
Well, alts are generally referred to as accounts that benefit your main account. In that case, I have 0, but I have 2 other accounts on RS3. One is 200 mil agility, another one is max, so just other accounts. But I do not benefit my main account with.
I only have one alt, and his name is Mini MMZ Host. I used him to boost my net meta in games when I was finishing 200 mil defense, but I don't use him for anything else, whether it's GE limits or making money. So it was just an alt I used for a specific purpose at one point in time.
And the PK tourneys.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I
as a
use mine
clan,
for that too.
we have a habit of going to the tournament worlds and beating everybody with our hashtag beat by skillers, and we go on our alts to be efficient. Our next question, though, is, in an achievement-based game such as RuneScape, there will be both failures and successes in the pursuit of experience. Reflect on any of your failed attempts to achieve something RuneScape-related in the past, and explain if they have affected your playstyle.
Off the top of my head, I can't really think of any failed attempts, and that's basically because I set pretty easy goals and then work my way to the end goal. And each one I've went for so far, I've achieved. So I guess the only thing to say is just don't make your goals too unrealistic and just have a fallback so you don't get demotivated.
Exactly the same answer as Roy. I don't think I've ever failed any of my goals just because they've never set like unrealistic goals. Always set them relatively low. Like at the minute, I'm going for 16 mil mining, and I may go for 17 mil mining if I reach my goal. Who knows?
I've never really failed to get a goal, but every time I'll say like I want a personal best a day record, every time I declare it, about an hour later, my parents will tell me something like, "Oh yeah, we're going on a day trip tomorrow," and I'm like, every single time I try to do it,
Rip.
something happens.
Yeah, excuse, Kappa.
I wish.
For me personally, I've always stick to the same goal, which is 200 mil. So technically, I've never burned out of my goal as long as I'm gaining XP. I suggest you do the same. So yeah.
I've never really burnt out, although my goal on RuneScape 3 was to get 200 mil in all skills. However, in my opinion, the integrity of RuneScape 3 was ruined to the point where I feel like if I got 200 mil all, I wouldn't feel very achieved due to the bonus experience, AFK methods, etc. So, I mean, if you want to call that burning out, then sure, but I haven't. I mean, I felt like burning out in old school, but that's the mental challenge. You have to stick to your goals.
I think the only time I've really burnt out of a skill was when trying to get 99 agility back in 2008, 2009. And that was just because I was a noob back then, and I got bored of it at level 88, and I didn't go back to it for another year. But I've never really burned out to anything in old school, and I think it's partially because I tried to set realistic goals that I know I can achieve in a reasonable time frame. Steady progress, really. I think it keeps most of us motivated.
For sure.
Our next question is on a similar topic, actually. We have been asked, what advice would you give to a player who is feeling burnt out or overwhelmed as an efficient skiller?
The first thing is just to have fun. If you're not enjoying what you're doing and you're going to burn out because of that, I'd suggest just changing skills and maybe cut back your hours a bit if that's what's making you try to burn out. Don't force yourself through a burn because you're just going to burn out.
Personally, probably cut down your hours. If you feel you're burning out from playing too much, then there's nothing wrong with playing a few extra, like less hours a day to like stay consistent and not burn out in the short term. I also have like a backup skill being agility, or whenever I'm feeling burnt out / like ill or tired, I'll just go and do that because it's like an easy skill with RD with tops. So yeah, with that way, I always have something to do if I'm feeling a bit burnt out, I guess.
I think setting yourself small goals is a really good way to do it. Anything like base levels or maybe a weekly amount of hours or daily. But yeah, just do what you want to do.
Yeah, you definitely need to be doing something that you enjoy. If you're not doing something that you're not enjoying, and you really, and I guess you're one of those people that does not like burning out of your goals, I definitely suggest you pull back your hours a lot, especially if you just started your goal and you're like start off going at like 100 hours a week. Let's say you have free time in the summer and you're doing 100 hours a week. I don't think that would be very good, especially when you're just starting your goal. You'll feel burnt out. So definitely have progression towards your goal if it's a long-term goal. Like start off with like maybe 60, 70 hours a week. This is assuming you have full free time. You could scale it down. 60, 70s, and as you become more familiar and feel more comfortable with the skill, I guess you can increase your hours.
My first advice, although it's kind of weird advice, I guess, is to skill hop. Because if you skill hop, you could be more mentally easy, or it might be more mentally easy for you to like change the method that you're doing. I feel like a lot of players have trouble sticking to one method or skill, and so they eventually just burn out or whatever. But in my opinion, this might sound really strange, but I think you should just, it sounds so dumb, but like try to like stick it out and try to stick to that skill, because if you could do a skill that you dislike doing, then you're mentally preparing yourself to do other skills. So yeah, that's it.
It's an interesting take on it. Personally, I would suggest just setting small goals, but also having long-term plans, so you never log in one day with nothing to do. You should always be logging in and working towards a goal, because that way you're more likely to stay motivated. At least from personal experience, I found it easier to achieve my goals if I was always working for one goal at a time, and once I had achieved it, I'd just move on to the next goal sequentially. So I had like both a short-term and a long-term plan.
Also, TeamSpeak definitely helps and to stay motivated and not burn out, at least for me.
Yeah,
Clans as a whole, I think, help a lot.
Yeah, community.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
TS is so like ridiculously OP. Like before I started talking to Solace TeamSpeak, I was playing like 5 hours a day or so, and now I'm literally playing like 17 or so, which is kind of funny.
What Brad was saying earlier, it's
Yeah.
more of like an acquired taste. If you're doing a skill that you dislike, you'll eventually get good at it and maybe like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, community is not something that should be underrated in regards to efficient skilling.
I agree.
I mean, when you're in TS, like the time just flies by. Like you're not even paying attention to the skilling, and so you feel a lot less burnout.
Yeah, definitely.
Our next question is, would you rather be unable to use private chat or unable to use friends chat?
Oh, I guess I'm able to use PMs. So I could talk to a lot more people in the friends chat. Yeah.
Definitely unable to use PM for me because the only people I actually regularly PM are people I talk to on TeamSpeak anyway, so I'd be able to PM them on here. So yeah, I'd rather not be able to use PM.
Yeah, I'd rather have the clan chat because it's just as easy to individually talk to someone on some other program.
I think I'd prefer having private message just because I feel like it'd be quite hard to have every single one of your friends all in the same clan chats. I don't think that's really realistic in my opinion.
I honestly don't have a technical answer for this, which is weird, but I would just say CC. I mean, I've had my private out for the past couple months now, and like I don't know, I guess I'd much rather be talking to like multiple people than individual people, just because like people can spark the conversation, stuff like that, add different viewpoints.
I'd personally opt to be unable to use private chat because I feel like I get more out of using friends chat because of the client and such. And many of the people I talk to in PM, I can just talk to on TeamSpeak or Skype anyways. So PM's not really that important.
And you wouldn't get those gold selling messages. No spam.
Of course.
Good point.
Yeah. They're so annoying. Can't even read them.
We didn't get all those noobs PMing, asking how to train their skills, or can I give them free money?
Or how do you get PMod?
Yeah. Our next question is another case of really would you rather. It is, if you were banished from the skilling community and forced to choose between becoming a Pker or a Pvmer, what would you choose and why?
I think Pvmer, because I think you have more to work towards with that. And it just seems a bit more interesting how you can go for pets and stuff. I really don't think I'd like PKing. I've never done it. I haven't really done PVM either, but I don't know, I've watched like Wooks and stuff, and it seems more interesting.
I mean, at that point, I'd probably end up quitting the game if I couldn't be a skiller anymore. But I mean, if I had to choose, it'd probably be Pker because I've had a background with PKing, and PKing with the clan the other day was fun, I guess. So yeah, I don't think I'd be able to be a PVM. It just seems boring shit to me. So Pker if I had to choose, but before that, I'd probably end up quitting.
I'd probably have to do PVM because you can still sort of work towards goals, like maybe try to bank 10 Ellie's or something outrageous. But with PVM, you can always get more progress done, I think, which is what I like.
Yeah, I definitely would go to PVM just because you could set yourself goals such as like acquire all items from this boss or even just all pets in general. I've actually had some interest in going for pets before in the past, still do, but probably won't happen.
Well, I would say PVM because it's more autistic than PKing. Although, like, I have tried killing Zora and I died 21 times in a row, so I don't even know how that would go. But I guess the main reason is just because, like, if I was in a PvP situation and like some guy just spec'd like a 70 with an AGS, like it just doesn't seem like there's any like skill to it. I mean, hybriding seems like it's very skillful, but like I suck at clicking, so I don't know. I feel like like as the other guy said, like PVM, like there's a goal to go go towards. Like there's a constant goal, but like I guess you can continue to upgrade your armor and go for all the pet drops, which is I guess kind of like an autistic achievement, like a 200 mil, like that would take a lot of hours to achieve. So I mean, I don't know, that's just my.
Although I've PVM'd a lot in the past, I would actually choose to become a PK, I think. I have PK before, and despite that, there's still a lot of the PK community I haven't really experienced, like clanning. And I think if I couldn't skill, I'd like to explore that aspect of the game. Because I used to actually enjoy PvP many years ago, and it's not something I've gone back to because I've always been skilling or killing bosses instead. I think PVM gets kind of repetitive after a while, especially once you reach a certain amount of money and each individual drop starts to mean less to you because it's a smaller percentage of your bank.
But don't you think skilling is very repetitive too, though?
I think skilling is repetitive as well, but in a different way, I suppose. I just find once I reach a certain amount of money from PVM, I'm just not really interested in doing it anymore. Whereas with skilling, there's kind of always a goal because it's 200 mil XP and there's 23 different skills. Yeah, I think most people in the skilling community would probably opt to be a PVMer because it's arguably more similar to skilling than PKing is, because there's still that grind aspect.
Yeah.
I'd still probably quit though, like Bond said. I think it'd be fun for a bit, but like I feel like I'd be quite upset like if I didn't get a drop after like a very long time. I don't know. A lot of RNG goes into it, especially that people like go for all boss pets because that's like more hours than max, and like Corp, it'd take you forever to get that pet if you didn't get really lucky.
Yeah, it would be fun, but it would be grind, so similar to skilling in a way, whereas PKing would be more spontaneous.
I feel like you get more demotivated with PVM, but at the same time it seems more enjoyable than PKing for me. I don't know why.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't do PVM now that I think of it, just because all the DCs. That would probably piss me off.
Oh yeah.
Be more,
yeah, too.
just as much of a problem for PVM and
yeah,
PvP.
I know, but like I feel like you're not risking as much with PK. I don't know.
Well, interesting viewpoints, I suppose. Well, next question is, without EHP as a measure, what do you think climb requirements would be based off? Examples may include total level, total experience, or experience in specific skills.
I don't think you could really get it down to just one for like a growing clan. I think it'd have to be all of them. It'd just be case by case basis, I think. I say someone had like 200 mil hunter or whatever, but they had a low total level and they couldn't get in like that. So I think it should just be total level, XP in certain skills. Yeah, just case by case basis.
I mean, I guess it'd be XP in certain skills. I think it was Jebram's clan that had a like XP in certain skills gave you points. I think this would reflect like more accurately how much time people have put into their account. So I guess that would be nearest to EHP you could get. So yeah, I'd probably say that.
It's hard to say which of the three is the most important, but I almost feel like XP and a skill would matter the most. But of course, it does matter for each person. Like you can't just have 200 mil cooking and like level 1 everything else.
Yeah, I feel like they would, or people would like reuse Jebram's method, just like setting a certain value to each skill, just so you like have a understanding of like how many hours or how impressive, or just like I guess your own personal views on that skill, and like you just know what you're looking for, I guess.
Well, the statement asks, what do you think clans will be based off of? And currently, I'm pretty sure there are no clans in RuneScape 3 that use any form of EHP. So I feel like everybody would just do total XP. But in an ideal world, I would definitely choose the Jebram style of ranking, just because it's a more accurate representation of how much time you spent in the game and how much time you have in a certain skill. Like, in my opinion, I would even rather have the Jebram style of ranking over the EHP system, just because it more accurately represents what method you did. For example, Acid Soul actually has like 200 to 300 more hours than he actually does in mining, and so his EHP got devalued because of it. But if we're in a Jebram's clan mindset, then his hours would remain the same.
I see. I would probably opt for the system that True Masters of Agility used, Jebram's clan, because I suppose it was similar to EHP in the way that they assigned a static value to a certain amount of experience in a given skill, which was supposed to represent the number of hours you had spent on said skill. I think it was more accurate than total experience in any case. RS3 clients use total experience because everyone's maxed in RS3 and a lot of people just go for post-max XP rather than XP in specific slow skills, so it works. When I was the general on Hexus back in early 2013, and I was discussing with eFire, the leader at the time, what we were going to do for a clan system. This is before EHP came out, so we discussed things ranging from total level to specific skills required, such as 91 rune crafting or 99 fishing, like efficient skills, I suppose. But fortunately, EHP came out, and that made everything a lot easier. There's really no system that's as good as EHP, but I think the Jebrum system is probably the second best.
I mean, it's kind of curious to wonder because Crystal Math Labs recently added a RuneScape 3 EHP system. I mean, I know it's a lot harder to give an EHP for RuneScape 3 just because there's so many methods and bonus experience, etc. But I feel like they could definitely add an EHP system for Ironman on RuneScape 3. It'd be very interesting.
The problem with EHP and Ironman in general, though, is that EHP doesn't account for the time spent gathering supplies.
Yeah, that's the main problem. Like the Ironman and Oldschool probably have like 3 times their actual EHP just because they spent so much time like gathering buckets of sand, etc.
Exactly. So it's difficult, I suppose. It would be interesting in how, if you were an Ironman, how would you rate other Ironmen? Because you couldn't use EHP, but you couldn't really use specific total level because it depends what they have trained.
Yeah, I mean, even in regular EHP though, like EHP doesn't consider questing.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Questing's a relatively small amount of time though. Once you have a certain amount of EHP.
Well, I mean, so is farming though.
Yeah. Whereas farming is quantifiable because you can track farming XP gains, whereas you can't track quest point gains because it's not displayed anywhere.
Definitely true.
Yeah. Fortunately, we have EHP. Otherwise, I think we'd be in a difficult situation. Next question is specifically for Oi and myself. Somebody has asked us, will the Solace clan requirements always go up?
Yeah, I believe so. If the clan's always progressing, I think there's need for there to be a bit of competition and for ranks to keep going up.
Just to continue this question, as Oldschool continues to age and the average EHP of a player goes up, our clan requirements will go up with that because we want to have specific standards that players have to adhere to. So yeah, long-term EHP requirement for the clan will always go up. Our next question is in regards to the new J-mods who recently joined the Oldschool team. We have been asked what are our opinions on Mod Day, Mod Krista, and Mod Kieren. To clarify for anybody who doesn't know, Mod Day is our QA tester, Mod Krista is a content developer, Mod Kieren is a QA tester as well.
I have a small response to this since I haven't really kept up with them, but I just think more mods, the better. The more people we have, more content. I got like more work's going into the game, so it'll be better in the long term.
I don't really know much about them from what I've seen on stream. The Mod Chris is really annoying. Like, I laugh. Oh god, it just pisses me off so much. Like, I've turned off the stream before because she just keeps laughing and at everything. So yeah, that annoys me. I think Mod Kieren seems to know quite a lot about the game. So obviously I support him as a QA tester because having mods that actually play and know about the game is important. Vice versa for Mod Day, as she's never really played before. So I think she's probably not the best pick for a QA tester.
I really don't keep up with the Jagex team like I should. So I really have no clue who they are.
Personally, I like that the Oldschool team is expanding, and I'm glad to see that. And for Mod Day and Mod Krista, I don't really know too much about them. I know one of them worked for something in RS, so it had to do with the microtransactions, which hopefully they don't do anything bad here. I hope not. I'm assuming not. But for Mod Kieren especially, I I have a lot of expectations, and I've actually really enjoyed him on the live streams. He just seems like he knows what he's talking about, and he has experience with the game. I think he's maxed in RS3, and he actually has a lot of guides and videos on YouTube.
Harm, you basically stole my exact answer. Like, I'm not really sure which one of the girls did the microtransaction.
Mers, Krista.
Krista, okay, yeah, it really disgusts me that they would even consider putting microtransaction person in old school. But I mean, it's honestly inevitable that it's gonna come. But I really like that Kieren came, because he's a very knowledgeable player on the game. I feel like he would have a very good idea of like how to balance things and stuff like that. Maybe, I mean, hopefully better than Mod John C. And I really like the idea on one of the live streams. He got a notepad and wrote down ideas from the stream. I thought that was a really good idea. But yeah, I'm not really sure on Mod Day like what her role is. But yeah, I mean, do I want more J mods? I don't know, because then they'll release more devaluing updates into the game. But whatever, life goes on.
I don't know much about Mod Day, apart from she seems to have good credentials. I mean, she's got a degree in computer science, so I'm going to assume she's competent. But I guess we'll see based on how many bugs we encounter in future updates. Mod Krista, although she worked with the microtransactions team, I think it's worth noting that she was assigned to do that. She may not have wanted to, but as a content developer, she's given a project to do and she goes and does it. I think she is very competent because she wrote a lot of content for Old School, as in back when it was the real 2007. So I think she's almost like a female counterpart to Mod Ash, and I do expect high quality updates from her. Mod Kieren was maxed pre-EUC. He seems to be a competent guy, and he's got good credentials, degree in mathematics, so I'm going to assume he's good at balancing, and perhaps future updates will be less controversial as a result. But we'll see. Moving on, though, our next question is, how have your views on alts changed over time?
I was quite against them at the start, like when I first started hearing about them, but I guess I've cared less and less over time. I used one for a bit, and I really didn't like it. I find it quite boring. I felt like forced to use it, but I don't know. I really don't care if people use it. I don't know. It's about the meta, I guess. Things have changed, and you gotta do what you gotta do to compete.
Well, I was really salty at the start. Now I guess I've accepted them more, but I'm still really not a fan of them. And they've changed the meta quite a lot, like making lava runes and stuff like that to 200 mil, like more realistic and more viable. But I think with the release of the GE, most of these methods have become viable anyway due to flipping long term. So alts don't have as much of an impact as they used to, but I still would rather skills like rune crafting have to be done like D3 double nats, and I guess the time to 200 mil has like been drastically decreased through this change in meta. So I'm still not a fan of alts, but I've started to accept them a bit more.
At first, when I learned Sicknerd was using an alt, I was like actually mad about it, thinking that he could profit during smithing and crafting, and I thought that wasn't right at all. But as time went on, I became okay with them.
Actually, at the start of Old School, believe it or not, I used to be extremely against alts. I used to even go out of my way to like figure out if someone was using an alt or not, and I don't know, I was obsessed with it. That was mainly due to most of my views being a guideline off of Jebrams. But as time gone by, I eventually began to use my own alts, multiple alts, 25 alts, and yeah, I didn't really use them too significantly, but at that point I didn't really care too much. Actually, I realized I skipped a part of the story. I was actually against it for a long time, and I remember Transmusic and we tried to get alts banned from Hexes. We even threatened to leave. That was before the 25 alt thing. Okay, but now I don't really use my alts anymore. I prefer not to use alts just because I don't really enjoy it. But I have accepted that other people do use alts and they're okay with it, and I'm okay with it as well, I guess. Although I am well aware of how OP they are, I don't really like that part, but I'm not too salty about it anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, are literally, like, pardon my like French word, but they're fucking retarded. The idea you can be gaining progress for account while you're not on it is actually the most retarded. Okay, literally, it's in my opinion, alts being allowed in the game is the second worst update to ever come to RuneScape. The idea that you can be gaining unlimited G pizzles per hour for your main account is absolutely retarded. It's so, it just makes me cringe so much. I guess because I've had the mentality of Jevrim for so long or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to attack people for using alts, but I mean, I'm kind of above that now, and I kind of realize that people should be able to play the game how they want to. I just really dislike alts and stuff. It's just, I mean, you could even make the argument that alts get more or mentally easier to achieve. For example, my friend Lord Speed, who's rank 1 agility, he said that he would have a lot harder time achieving 200 mil agility if he wasn't using an alternate account, because it kept his brain it kept his brain occupied while he was doing it. I don't know. I just really dislike the idea of alts. In my opinion, they are probably one of the greatest, one of the greatest things to devalue RuneScape accounts. That's why I absolutely love and the morals of Ironman, just because you can't use them. But yeah,
A candid assessment on alts there from Bradfordly. Personally, I have always been against alts as a means to make money for your main, and I wish it had never been allowed. I would prefer if players were forced to flip or runecraft for their money instead. I mean, I don't use an alt myself, and I never will, because I plan to flip for all my 200 more Bibles, and I believe I can do that. So I just don't like how, instead of all your focus being on a single account, players can just make several accounts and then make unlimited GP. It changes the metagame immensely, because you can save thousands of hours in total using alts, unless you're a very competent flipper who can then save the same amount of money. But I feel like altscape is quite easy to do, whereas you could argue being a good flipper has an element of risk and knowledge, whereas any random noob can make an alt and go kill wyverns. So I don't like that alts have... Well, alts were initially tolerated before they were made within the rules. So I don't like altscape, and it was something I started to dislike about RS3 back in 2012 when it became more mainstream, and I was somewhat disappointed that the mentality carried over to Oldschool as well, because I believe alts are detrimental to the metagame and the integrity of the high-level skilling community.
Yeah, I mean, I really loved the idea in the beginning of Oldschool. I don't know if you guys remember, but 99 rune crafting paid for max perfectly. And now you have people doing like lavas and darts and stuff for fletching. Like, I don't know. I just loved when rune crafting paid for all the Bibles and stuff like that. It was so perfect.
Yeah, I wish it... Go on.
Go on.
Okay, I really wish it wasn't allowed, but at the end of the day, it will never be changed.
It's hard to track.
Unfortunately, yes. I just don't like how... What I don't like about alts primarily is that they are very easy to do. It's low risk, relatively low effort for unlimited reward, whereas flipping, I would argue, is higher risk, higher effort, and the reward is naturally lower. I mean, theoretically, a good flipper can save just as much time as an altscaper, but they have to be more careful with their skill order. They can't really afford to spend too much GP at once, whereas an altscaper can just do back-to-back Bibles and not even care, because they've always got the money coming in.
And they can lose money if item crashes.
Yeah, but with flipping, you can like make money overnight, which I really don't like. When you're offline, you shouldn't be really allowed to make any progress. So like, I don't know, with flipping, you can sell stuff overnight.
You can lose money overnight too, though.
I know, but like, if you're an experienced flipper, then like, I feel like you're 9 times out of 10, you're not going to really be losing money, and you're not playing the game. So in my opinion, you should be making progress. Yeah. That's why I voted for the G, like, not to work when your account was offline. I think that's
Same here.
a lot better, in my opinion.
I voted for that.
Okay, so Finbar, so you said you're against alts and you're for flipping. How about what if you flipped on an alt? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't see a flipping alt as bad as a wyvern alt, but I don't know how I feel about a flipping alt, because it gives you an extra 8 GE slots, which for a competent flipper who's prepared to flip a range of relatively low value items for more intense flipping, it provides a significant advantage. I personally prefer to flip a couple of high value items like Third Age, Elite Third Age, Elysian Spirit Shields, that kind of stuff. So a flipping ult wouldn't really be useful for me, but I don't know.
I feel like you have to. I mean, it's kind of insignificant, but you have to waste time to go to the GE to flip and stuff like that. And like I feel like you could have like 5 flipping alts, just flipping like all one item or whatever. Yeah.
Unless you're training a bank standing skill, you will have to waste time flipping. I know when I did Slayer, sometimes I'd have to leave a task 2 or 3 times to update my GE if I was doing a lot of trades at once, and that did cost me some XP, but I felt more comfortable doing that than flipping on an ult.
Yeah, I definitely agree with, I don't know who said it, but I really disagree with being able to trade overnight and stuff like that. One of the huge things I wish that was released with the GE that I loved about the trading post is you couldn't trade if you were offline. I just love that aspect. I feel like trading offline is essential. You could argue that is almost as bad as 6-houring, just because you're literally gaining progress while you're logged out. I mean, you could also argue that you could be losing progress, but I feel like if you are a confident flipper, you definitely gain profit overnight. And I mean, selling and buying items overnight as well. I mean, you don't even have to be merging them. I mean, before when you had to trade manually, you couldn't trade overnight or anything. So that wasted a ton of time.
It's definitely a valid point. I've woken up to make 30 to 40 mil before from an overnight sell, and I suppose you could argue that's quite unfair because I wasn't online at the time, but I believe there's an element of risk involved, so I don't see it as quite as bad.
And also, if you couldn't trade offline or whatever, it'd be bad for people in like not peak hour time zones, because not as many like offers would be going into the G and stuff, so it'd be bad for them, I think.
Those poor Australians are already disadvantaged enough as it is with the ping. Don't give them less trading hours as well. No, it's interesting as well that some of the most efficient ults that you can have are actually RuneScape 3 ults that you then transfer the money to Oldschool, which I feel like is one of the worst things you can do. You have an ult and you transfer with the ult. It's like 2 things in Oldschool that I disagree with both being done at once.
Isn't Oldschool better at making GP than RS3 though?
Yeah.
Not always. With the exchange rate as it is currently, you can kill Dwargers and RS3 that drop dragon pickaxes, and it's like 1 mil an hour Oldschool or more for relatively low intensity. Last I heard.
That's another topic we should kind of discuss, maybe like transferring in between games. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't agree with it personally, but I just wish they banned it from the start.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely branching off from our topic. It's sort of alts, but like this is also hypothetically, you could literally, I'm pretty sure Paul Rat did this or something. That's a rumor, but you could literally have like a 3-bill bank on RS3, and in the beginning of Oldschool, you just transfer all of your money onto Oldschool and get rank 1 in a skill. Like that's a huge unfair advantage in my opinion.
Yeah, I disagree with transferring, because at the start of the game, I thought it was like a new start for everyone, but it really isn't, since you can just transfer and have a pretty big advantage depending on how big your bank was in RS3.
I know an Oldschool player who makes 50 mil Oldschool a week using 2 RS3 ults that they then transfer the GP over, and I find that to be very unethical. But it's their decision, and I can't really stop them, so I just have to accept it.
I guess the only thing I was kind of okay with about transferring was when bonds run out in Oldschool, people transferred money from Oldschool to RS3 to fund their membership. That's fair enough.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah, so. But now they're out in Oldschool, so I think transfer should just be banned now. But
I just noticed a comment in the Twitch chat was saying that there's no way dwarves score 1 mil Oldschool per hour. I don't know for sure, but it was just somebody who was talking to me about it, said that they made nearly 1 mil Oldschool per hour. They may have been referring to using 2 ults though rather than 1, so in any case, it's altscape plus transferring. I think it's about as unethical as you can get without breaking the rules. But it's just my opinion. And obviously I respect that Jagex has chosen to allow both altscape and transferring. In any case, moving on from that controversial topic, what could you suggest to Jagex to help prepare a better skilling cup than last year?
One thing, not to leave it to the last second, like it seems to happen right now. I don't think it's going to happen in the summer, so that's kind of bad. But I think they should ask high-level skillers in the community, like, to help them out with balancing things and having like new skilling methods, like 3-tick fishing and stuff like that. And to have, for the mining one, wasn't it just like granite only, no sandstone?
last year.
I believe so.
Correct.
Yeah, to change that to both granite and sandstone to be like how it is in the game.
Yeah, just to get the methods like more accurate, really. Like there should be spawn trapping for hunter, 3-tick fishing, and I don't know, just to ask the community, ask for their input. So yeah, I don't know, just ask for the community's input and stop doing methods that aren't actually in the meta at the time.
I think adding in more skills, excuse me, would be pretty fun. Like, I think an agility petition would be pretty fun because if you miss one tick, that could make your whole team lose.
You'd be that guy, Ray.
I would not.
Well, since they all mentioned other things that I was going to mention, I guess I can point out that tinderboxing, the woodcutting, that did not work properly. You weren't able to switch between trees if you used a tinderbox. It just wouldn't start a tick cycle. Also, I don't know if someone mentioned this, but adding the ability to cut the fish and just turn it into a roe and caviar so you get 3-tick fish, I did like that.
Pretty much everybody stole my points, but one thing that's different, I suppose, is I know this sounds actually, now that I think of it, it wouldn't really work, but I think they should have added a bank skill, like I don't know, like maybe like fletching or something, or if you're stringing, like fletching to see you can bank the fastest. But I just realized that wouldn't really be feasible due to the fact that it would just AHK it. But yeah, I would definitely like to see granite sandstone because it's more realistic to the actual game, and people could actually like train for it, if you know what I mean. Like the ticks might work different if you use granite or whatever. And I mean, although I am against bug abuse, it would be interesting to see like 3-tick fishing and 2 or 3-tick cooking or whatever. But yeah, I think that's all I have to add.
I'd be interested in seeing 3-tick fishing and 3-tick woodcutting being possible in the Clan Cup because I believe they are more technically challenging methods, and if we had them, it would allow more skillful players to better show off their skills. I'd also want the Hunter arena to be changed slightly. You didn't need spawn trap for the old one because there was just like 30 chins in the arena and you could just sit there and AFK. So I want it to be, again, more technically challenging with a need to spawn trap, optimal layouts, that kind of thing. But I guess we'll see. Mod Ash recently stated that the Clan Cup this year won't have any preparations made until after the PvP tournament, and seeing as that tournament has been delayed due to DDoS issues, the Skilling Cup could be several months away at this rate. I'm not expecting to see it until at least October.
Rip.
I'd also like it if John C just did the whole thing instead of Ronan and Nash. I feel like he's more aware of old school methods as he is pretty much maxed on old school versus mining and hunter.
He also talks to a lot of old school high level players, so he can get their input.
Yeah.
How about this? I know this might sound like a weird idea, but like, what if they added like Slayer to the skill cup and like they chose a random task, and like you had to be knowledgeable in every single Slayer task, so just to be safe, so you know how to be good or whatever at the certain Slayer task, and whoever finished the task fastest or something. I mean, it's kind of, it might sound weird just because there's heavily a lot of RNG involved, but I think it might be interesting for Slayer. I don't know.
That would be interesting, but there would be a fair bit of RNG involved. Although
Yeah.
the longer the task, the less the RNG would matter.
You'd have to make a less like AFK task, like
Yeah.
black demons just sit there for the whole time.
Yeah. Go take a shower during the Skilling Cup.
Yeah. Also, I'd like it if there was no reindeer hat. So I just feel like that's unfair for the people that don't have it, and create a pretty big advantage for a team that does have it.
That's
Render
true.
hat's bullshit, man.
Honestly, construction would be so sick for the Skilling Cup. Well, actually AHK, but still, it would be cool. I don't know.
You can do construction with mouse keys pretty easily.
Yeah.
Again, it would be whoever's got the best AHK though, like a bank skill.
Yeah.
Or who's prepared to use an illegal script for 1 hour to get the best rate.
We need an opinion on AHK and mouse keys, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure you guys have discussed that in past
It's coming
podcasts.
up later, don't
Good
worry.
questions.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But Skilling Cup. I'd like to say I'm hyped for it, but it's not going to be for a few months, so I'm not hyped for it.
It's a
Moving
bit
on,
of a letdown that
Go on.
they're postponing it. was a bit
Yeah,
high for it.
unfortunately. But no, the showdown between Solace and Hexus and Skilling Cup will come. It's just going to be a while if we have to wait until the PvP tournament's done. Our next question is actually in regards to a content update. We've been asked, would you want player-owned house altars that change your spellbooks? What would be the level required, or could it be a money sink? I'm going to take this question more generally as what kind of construction updates would you guys like to see?
For that, I don't think I'd like that because it'd just make the other content like how you do it originally, just take content and no one would really do it. But if they do, I'd like to see a really high level. I think there should be like more high content stuff, like 90 plus and that. But for the construction skill, I don't really know. Like I think I said this in an earlier podcast, something like mixing construction with agility, where you can create your own like obstacles so you can get to places faster. That'd be kind of cool.
I guess I kind of would like them, like if they put a really chubby gold sink on it, like 10 mil or something like that, 5 mil maybe. Yeah, I guess that gold sinks are good, so anyway you can get a gold sink in really. Like it would make stuff like alchemy or doing agility more viable because you could just quickly go to your house and change your spellbook for a farm run. So I don't know, I don't think it would affect the game too much either, like negatively.
I think this update would be kind of interesting because it would make quite a gold sink. If you had it like 90 construction, that would be like at least 50 mil, I think more, just to get 90 construction. Then the actual altar could cost a lot too. And then every time you swap spellbooks, you could have it cost like 10 dragon bones or something. I don't know.
Dragon bone prices are high enough, mate.
Yeah.
I do agree that it does devalue or degrade from the areas that you actually have to go to swap your spellbooks. But I do think it gives a very good incentive for people to train their construction up, as right now I don't think there really is any incentive to train past, 47 for Mounted Glory, even though it's not even that useful anyways. And I think along with a big money sink, I don't know what numbers, but I'm sure Matt K has some data on that, but definitely gives a lot of incentive to train construction.
Well, I'm for one who I don't like giving incentives to skills. I like when people achieve things without incentives because it makes it more mentally challenging. But I would not like to see this added just because it'll just make the guy it won't change it that much, but it's like they keep adding smaller and smaller convenient updates. They'll just make the game a lot easier and stuff like that. However, I would like to see an update instead of a gold sink. Like everybody's saying gold sink. I feel like there's a lot of gold sinks in game. I would actually like to see an item sink. Like I would like to see a flax sink or something like that, or those snake skin things you get from Zulrah, which aren't used at all, as a sink rather than gold. But yeah, I personally wouldn't like to see this update just because it slightly devalues the game. And I wouldn't want to see any construction updates in game. But yeah.
Same here, I forgot to mention I wouldn't want any construction updates. Training wise anyway.
I wouldn't mind if they added an altar that could let you change the spellbooks, but I believe we'd have to have sufficiently high requirements, quest and skill, and then maybe make it quite expensive, like at least 5 to 10 mil, plus a regular cost to change. So you get a convenience, but you have to pay a high price for it. As for other construction updates, I don't really know what they could do with construction to make it better, other than adding shortcuts in the rest of the game, but even then, I think those would only be of limited use, and although construction feels kind of unfinished at times, I'm quite happy with how the skill training method works. So, I think it's quite a challenging method to do mahogany tables or oak doors, and I kind of like that construction has that difficult aspect to it, so I wouldn't want to see it changed.
I think I saw a Reddit poster somewhere on the original concept of this idea that like it had for the ancient spellbook or ancient altar it would require like a couple ancient staffs or something like that, and then for the lunars it would require like 10k astral runes. I don't know. Interesting, I guess.
Be interesting.
I'm kind of curious. Does it actually require a ton of effort to go to change your spellbook? Like, do you have to like run far ways or?
Nah, not really.
You can
Like
use a
a minute.
teleport to Lunar Isle, takes around 15 seconds to get to the altar. If you want to change to Ancients, you use a Ferrous Scepter, it's the third option, takes again around 15 seconds. So,
I just don't see why they have to add it when it's already easy to change it.
Was that
Yeah.
short?
yeah, it's really short if you use a
Yeah,
Scepter
fast.
or a teleport scroll.
That's completely pointless then.
Yeah.
I just cancel everything I said.
I guess
Shouldn't be added.
because people wanted like something to add to construction
It's laziness,
Yeah.
they just want it really convenient.
and a fairy ring as well. That's pretty easy to get to, and they want that in the house as well, right? You're wrong.
I'm actually for a fairy ring as well. I wouldn't mind it in your garden.
Moving on, our next question is, would you rather be unable to use AHK/mouse keys or unable to use OSbuddy?
Definitely OSbuddy. I rather use it as it is.
Oh shit! What was the question I was under? This was it the AHK one. Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
I would definitely rather not be able to use OSbuddy. I only use it for skills at the moment because of the zoom feature. So yeah, probably definitely OSbuddy. I don't know. I think they're coming out with a zoom feature in game, so I would literally have no reason to use OSbuddy other than like XP tracker. So yeah.
I haven't used the OSbuddy client for about a month, so I'd rather just not use it.
Yeah, I used to not use OSbuddy at all, and I was pretty fine. I rely a lot on AHK, so I don't think I could ever let it go, or mouse keys.
Personally, I don't use mouse keys, AHK, or OSbuddy, so I think it's kind of an irrelevant question for me. I mean, yeah, I don't use any of them, so yeah.
What do you find is
Probably
worse,
as
Brad?
legit as you.
What do I find is the worst thing?
Yeah,
That's a
out of
very
those.
interesting question. You have to take many things into account. Like
What
if you use,
things?
well, OSbuddy is just convenient overall, but like I feel like the biggest thing with OSbuddy is like the farming track or whatever. And it says like when your things are diseased. I feel like that could save like hundreds of mil off 200 mil farming. I mean, honestly, I haven't ever really used OSbuddy, so I don't really know the OP features really. But I mean, I just know there's a lot of features that are very convenient and help you in game. But AHK takes the skill out of the game. AHK and mouse keys take the skill out of the game. Like I feel like when you can tell like a player like Bodhi, if you were to compare a player like Bodhi to someone like Harm, I'm sorry, but like Harmony or Vior, like Harm is not the best player in the world with manual, and Bodhi is very extremely good at manual, and so there's a very good skill level there for him. So I feel like I would probably say AHK, or I would rather have OSbuddy than AHK and mouse keys, just because it takes the skill level out of the game.
But Brad,
Let's see.
OSbuddy has mouse keys.
Oh my god, you did that argument again. Oh god. I mean,
Personally, I would have to say no to AHK and yes to OSbuddy because one of my passions in Oldschool is Slayer, and Slayer is significantly easier with OSbuddy because I can see my cannon timer, I can see how long I've got on my cannon, I can see my stat boost, and I know how many monsters I've got left for my task without clicking the Slayer ring. I could not live without that. I've become quite dependent on OSbuddy to the extent that when I was doing Slayer and OSbuddy wasn't working due to a game update, I found it quite difficult at times.
This is also a thing with OSbuddy that I remember Vior doing. Like, they recently updated it to where it tells you when your traps are going to go down and stuff like that. I feel like that's, although it might seem like it wouldn't save that much time, it actually does if you're going to go for like records and stuff like that, because it tells you like exactly when your traps are going to be disabled and stuff like that.
You'd be able to zone out more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Harm said he was able to. Why do I say Harm? By the way, you guys, when I mean Harm, I mean Vior. By the way, sorry. But yeah, like he said, he was able to AFK a lot more easier. You know.
Slayer is also more AFK of OSbuddy because I can also see when I need strict prayer potion. There was just so many
Oh.
features.
Oh, I just realized something, dude. The most cancerous update. Okay, sorry, that's probably rude. The worst update I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't even like. I was watching Alkin do this on a stream. If you freaking use the OSbuddy plugin for the agility obstacles, I don't even get. You're not even on my. You're never gonna make it on my friends list. Like the obstacles in Artie are literally 10 miles wide. If you use that update, I am sorry. Like that is. I lost all respect for anything. I'm done. Rant over.
Yeah. Artie's already easy enough. I don't know why people use that.
Yeah, okay, I can understand if you use an 8 because those freaking skulls you have to walk up are extremely like 1 pixel wide. But like already, like all the rooftops, like, is yeah.
Agility is already the easiest skill in the game. You don't need OSbuddy to make it even easier.
I'd say it's tied with Slayer overall. And probably a few other and
it's
cooking.
So weird how you guys say like the agility and Slayer are the easiest. Like I don't consider like click intensity like that much. Like Slayer is literally like a 5k hour 200 mil. I would consider that to be so much harder than 200 mil cooking. Like I don't even know.
Yeah,
When I
that's
say
true.
agility is the easiest skill, I'm only trolling Oi because he has a high skill XP in
Oh,
agility.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
only
yeah,
skill
yeah.
he's good at.
You're not trolling me.
Damn.
Likewise, what I said Slayer for Finbar.
I think Slayer is pretty easy though. Same with agility.
Yeah.
They're easy
Dude,
skills.
Dude, Slayer
Slayer's a hard
Slayer,
skill, guys. I can
No, for
confirm.
me, dude, Slayer is not autistic at all. Like you're doing like 30 different tasks a day, and it's not. I don't know. It's not repetitive enough for me. I don't think I could do it.
That's actually what I like about it, the diversity in the skill. I suppose I don't have the requisite autism required to be superior at agility because I find it very repetitive. I didn't really enjoy getting 99.
So
Whereas
it's hard.
you get diversity with Slayer. It's
I
not
actually-
difficult, it's just boring.
Well, boring could be. I mean, it's you can't stick to it, so therefore it's difficult. Mentally
I can
challenging.
stick to it, I just don't find it enjoyable.
Hmm.
The subjectivity associated with distinguishing difficulty for different skills.
Yep. Next question.
Next question, yes. So, if you were coerced into making an Ironman as your sole account, would you rather play RS3 Ironman, that is hardcore or normal, or Oldschool Ironman, that is normal or ultimate Ironman?
Ooh, I guess I'd stick with old school for sure, and I guess just normal because I've never really played RS3, and I don't think I'd want to learn it, and I don't think I'd play ultimate on old school because it just seems like so much work goes into like the littlest things on that, and it just I like the mindless grind more so, and I feel like even though normal Ironman's not like that really, it's more so than ultimate.
Like I don't know. I think I've seen RS3 Ironmans on stream and it looks fun, but then again, like I love old school way more, so it'd have to be one of the old schools, and then it would definitely be normal because I could not imagine playing without a bank. Like I have massive respect for anyone that does that long term, but for me that would drive me crazy. So I would just have to go with normal Ironman on old school.
I think I might actually want to do RuneScape 3 Ironman because I really have never played the game, and I think it'd be fun to explore everything. And if I was doing old school, it would just be a ton of just Zora, green dragons maybe, and then wyverns. I wouldn't really enjoy that too much.
I'd, for the same reasons as Ray, I'd probably play hardcore Ironman on RS3, just because I really am not familiar with any of the new methods that have came into the game since maybe 2011. I think it would be pretty cool to learn what's new and do it at a more difficult way than just regular account.
Okay, I just want to say Iron Man is like the sexiest thing that's like ever come into the game. And I can't even decide, dude. They're all so delicious. Like I would just like play it like 24/7. Like I just really don't want to start over. However, see, I can't even decide. Okay, this is the way I'm gonna rank it. So hardcore, I probably wouldn't play hardcore Iron Man on RS3 just because like I would die like at the wilderness course like every single day. But I would definitely. It's honestly tied. I would probably play RS3 Ironman for the fact that I could do barb to 200 mil again, and I really enjoy that course. Like I could do that for like 7 bill XP if I wanted. Like and Gnome Advance as well. Like I love those courses, and I feel like a lot of the methods in Ironman and RS3 are like pre-EOC methods. because like you don't have warbands, you don't have any dailies, there's no microtransactions in the game. I don't know. It's just very interesting to me. Ironman and old school. I mean, how pure can you get? I mean, it's pure grinding. See, okay. The one thing that honestly turns me off from Ironman and old school is the fact that Zulrah is in the game. Zulrah took so like you could argue that it takes thousands of hours off of max speed, especially in terms of like farming and fire making and all these skills. It just takes hundreds of hours, and it really annoys me that people just Zulrah slide like. Well, honestly, the sexiest achievement, in my opinion, you could possibly achieve in RuneScape is if you got 99 rune crafting and mined your own S. Like, that is, like, the epitome of Iron Man, in my opinion. If you were to do it, like, I would love doing that achievement. I mean, it's a couple thousand hours to get 92 mining that will pay for rune crafting. It's almost like a buyable, like having to, I don't know. I just love that idea. And then Ultimate Iron Man. I love Ultimate Iron Man because people basically had to develop their own methods for Ultimate Iron Man. There was this guy on stream, Perm Iron, who's rank 1 Iron Man. He had the weirdest method for doing herb lore. Like he went to blue dragons with unfinished potions that he had unnote, and then he died with all of his supplies so he can have more inventory space to be able to train herb. I mean, these guys are just developing new methods that have never been used in the history of RuneScape, which is so interesting to me. Like, that's why I love Iron Man. And like on Iron Man Slayer, you got tasks that you wouldn't normally do. And I just love how Iron Man brings back dead content into the game. And I know that I've been going on a bit of a tangent, but I honestly can't decide. Like they're just all so like pure and perfect. Like I don't know.
I see. Personally, I would. I would probably opt for RS3 Hardcore or normal Ironman. Although RS3 Ironman is characterized by heavy reliance on dailies, I think the PVM side of RS3 is quite fun. And if I made an Ironman on RS3, I think I could have a lot of enjoyment going for, say, Final Boss, which is a PVM related title, or getting all the best drops from various bosses like a Rex or Nex, etc. Whereas old school Ironman consists of several, or maybe 1,000 hours of Zola, 1,000 hours of Wyverns, and various other grindy aspects. You could say it's very pure, but I don't think I'd enjoy it long term, just because of the immense grind required to get supplies for the buyable skills.
Yeah. I mean, so a couple of people have been mentioning Dailyscape. That is honestly very true. I didn't even really consider Dailyscape that much. Dailyscape devalues Iron Man so much. I mean, it's even coming into old school with like you being able to collect like I'm not sure exactly how many. I think it's like 100 battle stabs a day and stuff like that. Just pretty cringe that like it takes away a lot of progress. Like it's more efficient to log in for like 5 minutes a day than it is to actually play all day. In my opinion, that devalues the achievement a lot.
It's just shocking 120 battle staffs a day, and that nets you a profit of over 100,000 GP per day. So, game
Really?
breaking.
That is pretty game breaking. But I think Zora is like 10 times more game breaking. But yeah. Well, what other dailies are in old school, by the way? They have buckets.
Pure ass, flax, sand.
Sand doesn't really count because it automatically goes to your bank.
That's true.
I'd say Nightmare Zone herb boxes if you're a Nightmare Zone prod like me and you've got a lot of points lying around. Battle staffs, flax and essence, I guess, if that's sufficient to do. But I don't know. I don't do them personally.
What are those ogre arrow things?
Oh yeah, those are efficient too apparently. But
yeah, I saw them mentioned on the Hexus offsite.
Anyways, yes, Iron Man is an interesting topic, and we all seem to have varying opinions. Apparently, it's the sexiest thing that's ever come to the game.
Dude, are you kidding? You basically cheat. Do you understand how amazing this is? Like literally, the past 5 months, I've been debating playing Iron Man. Like, I've actually been so demotivated to log onto my account every single day because of the temptation of Iron Man. I just can't be asked to do Dragon Slayer and die like 30 times in a row like Etz did. Like, I don't even know. It just sounds so demotivated, but yeah.
I see. I understand.
And I would probably do 200 mil agility again and freaking kill myself, so yeah.
It's the concept of sunk costs. You really spent time on your main, therefore you don't want to invest on your account.
Yeah, that's definitely the main factor.
Yeah. Speaking of sunk costs, our next question is, should there be a tax on the GE?
Well, this would pretty much wipe out flipping, I feel like, unless you're doing really expensive items. I think I'd be for it if alts weren't in the game, because if alts were still in the game, that'd be like the only way you could. They'd be more OP than they already now. I feel like before the GE was in. So yeah, that'd be the only way I'd really like that.
I'd really, really love this update. Just flipping just contributes to the meta at the moment. I don't really like the way it's going. So yeah, I would love the update.
I think if the GE is taxed, it might make more people want to make alts. So in the long term of things, I wouldn't really care, but I think other people would care more because there'd be more alts in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that topic. I feel like if there's a tax in the GE limit, there would be more incentive to make an alt, and just the fact that there is no tax and that flipping is an option, that like it gives another option for making zero time money, and versus like you have to make an alt or you have to RC. I like that. Like for people who are against alts, that gives another method.
Okay, so I would love a tax because it's the best, or it's the better of two evils, basically. Personally, I actually really dislike the GE. Like, I feel like a tax would balance out the fact that you don't have to like I feel like people would actually start trading again in old school. Maybe, I mean, it might change, it might diversify the community in terms of trading, but like you guys don't even understand how much the GE devalued farming, and honestly all Bibles in general. I mean, it took him months to be able to bank the seeds, and nowadays you could literally bank 200 mil farming in probably about like, I mean, okay, 5 days is a bit ridiculous, but you could bank it extremely quickly now. I mean, Etsk had to buy 1 to 2 seeds at a time in a trade at like 2 times the price that they're at now. And I feel like with a tax, it might even out the achievement more. I mean, it honestly wouldn't even out the achievement just because of how much money and time Etsk had to spend, but I feel like I don't know, it balances it out a little bit more. But I mean, honestly, I would actually really love a tax, personally.
My salt would know no bounds if the GE had a tax, because I would be unable to flip for money, and if I couldn't make my easy zero-time money without an alt, I wouldn't be able to compete on the top page, and that would make me even more salty. So I would like the GE how it is, because with no tax, flipping is still a viable method of making money, and a tax would perhaps diminish profits entirely, because even if it was 1 to 2%, if you're flipping a third age longsword, for example, you're going to be losing 18 mil plus per transaction, which is quite a lot. Assuming, let's say you make 50 mil per transaction and there's a 5 mil tax, that's like 45 mil gone for what could take a couple of days, and it's relatively high risk. So I'm really glad that GE doesn't have the tax, and when the idea was discussed in the poll, fortunately it failed, because if the GE had a tax, flipping wouldn't be viable, and we'd all be forced to altscape.
Oh, dude, I
Runefest.
mean, I'm deaf as hell. Like, I didn't even really think about that, like, because you guys were probably talking about that earlier. But dude, yeah, because then people would wouldn't flip. They couldn't flip as effectively in the GE, so therefore people wouldn't use alt. Oh my god, dude, that is so sexy. Please,
But Finn,
Jagex, please.
but Finn, you could
Go on.
stake. You'd stake
Yeah.
for your money.
I'd stake for even more money than I already do. Then what if they introduced a staking tax?
Oh god,
Oh, that would be a good update.
that would. You'll be even more broke than they already are.
My life would be over with a staking tax and the GE tax. If worst came to worst, I would runecraft for money, I guess, but
Yeah, get the rune pick back out, Finn. Back to Runecraft.
hey, that was back in early 2013.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, fortunately, GE doesn't have a tax, and it won't have a tax anytime soon. Moving on from that depressing topic of if the GE had a tax, what are your thoughts on Deadman mode?
I dislike it. I really don't like how they're trying to split the community up into even more subcategories. It just seems really boring too, and I don't think it really could come out if the DDoS attacks would keep happening. And they might even start to happen even more with like Deadman mode, since it's once you die, you're pretty much done, except for the stats that you can save. I think it's just a kind of like a pointless update, and I don't like how a friend was like pushing for it. That kind of grinded my gears. But yeah, I really don't like it, and I'll vote no.
Yeah, I hate Deadman mode. Like all these game modes they're bringing out, I just don't like any of them. I don't even like Ironman, to be honest. Like, no offense, Brad, but yeah.
Dude, don't
I just feel like I feel like if you're playing Ironman, you should be doing it for yourself, not for a rank on the highest scores.
That's true, though.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like
no, okay, I shouldn't even. Sorry, bro. I just want to say really quick, like, I feel like the change in old school to like the split from old school from RS3 was 10 times more significant than the split from Ironman. I mean, it's not like you have it's not like you have people on Ironman or people on regular accounts hating on each other. It's not like you have like people on Ironman saying, dude, your account is shit because you're a regular account or anything. I mean, there's people in RS3 and Old School that argue with each other every single day to this day, even 2.5 years after it was released. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it didn't split it. I mean, it's not like people are like hating on each other for playing a certain game mode. So
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if you're doing Ironman, you should do it for yourself. Like all these people, they go onto Ironman because they don't like feel like competing in the real game. I feel like, and they just do it for another like a smaller community to compete within. I feel like if there was no Ironman mode, there'd be more competition for like accounts that can trade. Like people like Lelador probably wouldn't have quit his main. EHP ranks would be more contested, stuff like that.
Well,
anyway.
You said that like people should play Ironman to have fun, but couldn't you just argue that for the normal mode as well?
Yeah, you could. But like for Ironman, I feel like you're doing it to like get away from people. You're not trading people. It's just you. So why would you care what rank you are compared to other people?
Because it's self-sufficient. Like it's a lot more fair. That's why I think you should care. It's an even playing field. So therefore, I think you should even care more on Ironman than regular accounts. But that's just my opinion.
Oh man, you make such good points, Brad.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I actually went out of order too. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's no problem. Anyway, back to Deadman mode. I don't want it in the game. Like one thing I hate about Deadman mode, it takes worlds from. It's going to take worlds from the normal game because there has to be different servers for it, I'd imagine. So they're going to be taking worlds off the regular game. So skills like Slayer are going to become more crowded. I don't know. I just feel like they shouldn't be stealing worlds. I wish Deadman mode didn't pass. Wait, did it pass the poll?
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, I was pretty upset when it passed the poll. So yeah.
They take World 314. I'll be really, really sad.
Me too.
Did you do your agility in 314?
No, but like it's the original Dorgish Khan world.
Oh yeah,
man. Like,
it is. Yeah. I don't care for Deadman. I'm never gonna try it. And I think a lot of people are gonna try it like day one, but then they're gonna die and they're gonna quit forever. And I think it's only gonna be like 10 people really competing, and maybe not even that many. I think it's gonna be a pretty small community, and I don't think it's worth the effort to make the whole game mode.
I actually like the concept of it, although I do fear that there's gonna be a new method of altscape coming into the game with it, just because I know that there's the transfer rates from Deadman's regular Old School or even RS3 is most likely going to be very high, and I definitely fear that the most.
Transfer? Wait, can you trade?
Yeah, there's just no GE currently, at least, because it can't. It had to be a different server for the GE.
Oh god.
okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm not really 100. I didn't read the exact rules of Deadman 100%, but like, can you guys clarify? Is there a 5 times XP per hour?
Yes.
Out of safe zones, I believe.
Out of safe.
Yeah.
Okay. So I like the idea of it being faster when it's outside the safe zones, because you're risking all of your items and your stuff. However, I mean, so many records will be ruined and stuff like that. It really annoys me. But I mean, I actually kind of like the idea of everybody like going into the world, like everybody's like risking their items and stuff like that all the time. It's kind of very interesting. Like you have to hide from people. I'm not sure if they're gonna do something about this, but couldn't you just have an alternate account just splashing on you the entire time to like that seems like a massive problem that I don't even know if they would be able to fix 100%. Because you could even have like a level 3 attacking you with like a bronze like dagger or something, and just so you never get attacked at all. I mean, I kind of like the idea of Deadman mode just because it makes it's I've never really watched DayZ, but I'm pretty sure it's like based off the concept of like if you die, you lose all of your items, and you keep don't you keep like 5 of your stats or something like that, or is that wrong? I don't know. I'm not sure.
So you can protect some of your stats, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
2 combat stats you can protect unless they change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I actually have a lot of respect for people that will play Deadman mode just because it's almost like Ultimate Ironman. I mean, you gained a lot of progress, and then if you lose it all, then it's very like depressing. If you, I don't know, it seems intense. I don't know.
And for agility, the rooftops wouldn't be efficient since they're in safe zones, so you have to do like door.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting, but it would ruin records. That's why I'm not really a fan of it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think from a theory and metagame perspective, it's interesting to analyze Deadman and wonder what would be the most efficient way to accomplish certain goals, like max total, 85 Slayer, for example. Just the concept of it's very interesting, but I don't think it's worth developing because there will only be a small community of hardcore players. It'll be popular in release for the first couple of days, but it'll drop off quite quickly, I think, and it'll end up being a waste of time. So I've got mixed feelings about them adding it, but I do think it's interesting to speculate, and I'm going to be watching the early game quite closely just to see how players progress.
You could argue that like not a lot of people play Ultimate Ironman either.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I feel like Deadman mode doesn't even take that much time to develop, does it? I don't know.
I feel like it will take them a while to sort out all the safe zones, code
That's
it so
true, I
you can
guess.
take stuff from somebody's bank and other things like that.
Oh yeah, you could do that, huh?
I think it will be interesting that like a few months in, I feel like some people will backstab other high players that they trust, and it will get into a smaller community.
Doesn't that mean that you could just like have like 5 magic tree alts, and then like kill your alts for all the magic logs?
Yeah.
And then you
You
could
just
save
trade them.
You could save the woodcut. Oh, yeah. You could just,
Yeah.
never mind. For some reason, I was thinking it was Iron Man for a second. I was like, okay.
I'm pretty
You can
sure
have
they.
ults- Oh, you go.
Sorry, I'm pretty sure they said that like it won't affect any other updates coming into the game. Like
Correct.
I mean, like yeah. So I don't see how though, because I feel like it's a big update,
Yeah.
and they put that ahead of some other things. I feel like, but
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. There'll be a lot of bugs. I feel like too.
Yeah, there's
With
a lot
how
of
big it
ults
is.
too. Especially with the ults thing, like you just have an ult, as Brad said, attacking you, or just one that you just store items on. So it's like, oh, I just hate that.
I feel like some glitcher is just gonna find like an area next to a skilling zone where like it's not an attackable area or something, and they're just gonna like fish monkfish until the cows come home or something like that. I don't know. Dude, oh my god, fishing sharks is gonna be like fucking how much XP? Like 70k an hour? Oh my god, it's gonna be hilarious. Sorry, I had to say that.
Would it though? It's
I don't know. If you fish them in Catherby or something.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it would be.
That's hilarious.
Moving on, though, from the topic of Deadman, our next question is, when Oldschool was released, what did you do to begin with, and how would you play differently now?
Oh, I was a massive noob when I first started. I really didn't know anything really about the game since I didn't really play RuneScape before. Originally, I remember going to that little fishing spot, fishing shrimp. Over time, though, I became more efficient, and I play more for EHP than I did before. I didn't really know about that, but I played more efficiently, and I try to just be more efficient in general than I was when I first played it. I'd say, I guess, that I wouldn't have as much fun as I did, like not caring, but at the same time I do still really enjoy the game.
Oh. At the start, I think I just did fletching out a bank with my mates. Like I was so bad. I don't know. I just did fletching for like a couple of days, got like 70, made some money. I think it was profitable at the start. I ended up just quitting, like basically as soon as I started playing. How I play differently now, I had no like efficient mindset at the start, but like now I do, I guess.
I was a Pure at first, and the first mistake was I accidentally got 2 defense on it when I was maging a quest boss. And then I went PKing one day, and I lost a rune skimmy. And then I quit for 9 months because I died and lost it. And then I became a main once I came back.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
At least you came back.
Yep.
Well, when I first started Old School, all I ever did was agility. Like, I think my first 11 months of the game consist of like 84 RC, 99 cooking, and a lot of agility XP. Since then, I start viewing things as like, I try to look at the big picture and like, I try to like, what's the word? Understand like what's gonna happen in the future and like try to, I don't know, base my gameplay around that. And I guess, as Brad would call it, I'd be a macro efficient player now versus a micro efficient player back then. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I like the old you and you're a girl, Kappa. What would I do differently? This is a very interesting question. I mean, I started playing Old School on January, basically 1st, 2014. What is the question again?
What did you
how
do
I
when you
play
first started playing, and how would you play differently?
Well, because I love agility so much from RS3, I came and pretty much got 200 mil in Old School right away. That's literally all I did. So, I mean, I don't really have an in-depth answer as to why, what I would do differently. When I played the Old School, my intentions were actually to get max. And I think it would have been interesting if I had gone for max to see what my stats would be right now. But the reason I went for 200 mil agility is because the rank 1 agility at the time got banned for botting. So, yeah. I might have gone for max. It would have been very different.
I started Old School going for a questcape, which was a lot of fun, but if I could do it again, I would definitely start with 99s. So when I started Old School, my original goal wasn't max total, but I came back and made that my goal. Had I been playing for max from the start, I would have done my skills differently, like hunter and then fishing, thieving, etc. Just a much more macro efficient skill order.
The biggest
wasn't-
reason sorry, go on.
So I wasn't really new to Old School because I had been maxed for many years pre-EOC and I had leveled a lot back in the real 2007. So I was familiar with it, but I just wasn't macro efficient because at the time I wasn't going for max.
The biggest thing that affected my playstyle differently is Solace, I'd say. Just more of an efficient mindset. I've tried harder since I've been in it, and before I didn't play casually since I was still playing 10 plus hours a day from when I came back. But I guess I wouldn't take the game as seriously back then. I'd try a lot harder now. Just be efficient and play as much as I can without at the same time like being bored.
Our next question is about the enduring concept of fashionscape. With the recent popularity of the snelm helm in the clan, what other items do you think are best in slot as cosmetics?
So my favorite cosmetic, I recently found it, is gnome goggles. They look amazing.
Oh god, I hate the fucking snelm. Anyway, I'd probably. I don't have a cosmetic item. Boots of lightness. I guess a kind of cosmetic, but also serve a purpose. You get the best of both worlds. They are probably the best cosmetic item. Yeah.
I approve of that answer.
I think spot your cape is my favorite item, and some people just hate how it looks, but I really like it. Like a chocolate chip cookie on your back.
I never thought of it like
Okay,
that.
yeah, me either. Never thought of it like that.
Well, lately I've been wearing my Druidic Wreath a lot lately. I guess that's my favorite thing lately, along with my Achievement Diary cape and desert boots.
My favorite cosmetic items in the game, I guess inspired by Node AFK Prey, is the Grok helmet, the Grok headdress. And I also enjoy, for some reason, wearing the regen bracelet. I don't know, it just looks swag to me. I don't know why. I just love wearing regen. And also boots of lightness are pretty cool as well. So yeah. Items.
I like the katana. I wear it with most of my outfits in Old School, and although it's not a fashionscape item specifically because it's best in slot overall, I'm a big fan of the Amulet of Fury. I think it looks good with pretty much everything, and I always have one on. Moving on from a trivial topic like that, the next question we've been asked is, what are your opinions on the upcoming music cape?
I think it's just a pointless update, and I don't see why this came out before Maxscape. Yeah, I don't know. I won't get it. I think it's pointless.
I mean, it looks kind of cute. If you got a set like third age, I reckon you look pretty gangster. Like, I don't know, man. But I prefer it over a max cape. And hate me max players, but I'm not max, so yeah, I'd rather have that than a max cape. Sorry.
I think the cape would look pretty cool, but I'm never gonna try to get it, and I'd still rather wear Spottier.
I'm a little salty that they started to prioritize this over max cape, but I do like the idea of it. I will probably get it as well once I don't have the events or the music tracks and the events done. As soon as the Easter event comes around, I'll probably do it then.
It's a bit of a troll, but I absolutely love how like they're introducing like the max cape and all of these updates before they're adding all these updates before the max cape. It's honestly trolling every single max player in game. Like a music cape, like that's hilarious. There's probably like 2 people in the entire game who have that cape, but I mean, it all like the music cape honestly devalues the achievement of getting all of the music tracks because it's like I don't know, it just gives another incentive to go for it. Like I don't know, I hate when they give incentives to do stuff for some reason because then the achievement gets devalued because they're more mentally capable of doing it. I'm not just talking about the music track. I'm talking about going for max or 200 mil capes in general. But I mean, I just really don't like when they add new stuff to the game. Like, what is the point of a music cape? Like, why? Like, no.
I didn't really see.
Goddamn guitar remote.
I didn't really see the point of a music cape, but I have already got my champion's goal, so I will be able to wear the trim variant on release. I own a set of third age melee too, so I will look really good with my music cape, which is nice for my bank standing, but I would have preferred if Jagex prioritized the max cape, because I feel that would be more meaningful and would benefit more players.
Is it true that Ghost is making it harder to get trim? Or did I mishear something?
The trimmed requirement, the trim music cape requires an achievement diary cape and all holiday tracks unlocked.
And it originally wasn't like that, right?
The holiday thing's so dumb, man. Like, I mean, I'm already not allowed a reindeer hat, right? Now I can't even get a fucking music cape.
Yeah, but at least they're trying to make things harder to achieve and not just like bow down to like everyone that wants easy escape. Like I kind of like that. Ghost is trying to make it go through with that.
Well,
Harder reps are good, but
That's the only thing that's good that's the only thing good that came out of it, I think.
Well, to be honest, I kind of find it annoying how like you would have to wait a year to do a holiday event. Like I'm almost positive like the completionist cape on RuneScape 3 required like something in the holiday or something. I don't even know, but like I remember they made it so they just unlocked all the holiday events or something like, or holiday emotes or something like that. So never mind.
The completionist cape originally required music tracks from holiday events, and if you didn't have them, you were stuffed. But they changed it so you unlocked them automatically after the event finished.
Yeah, like imagine if like you got all the music tracks except one, and like Easter just happened, and like you started playing again or something like that. Like it just seems annoying having to wait a year. I mean, it's not, you literally can't do anything in your power to get a trim cape. Like that just seems so annoying.
Yeah.
News you lose.
Yep, we'll see the music cape on Thursday, so look out for somebody very well dressed at World 19GE. That's all I can say. Our next question is, what are your opinions on the PvP tournament and the accompanying DDoS attacks?
I didn't really like the PvP tournament. It seems just more like private server-ish, even though Oldschool is like a private server. But I'm not a PK fan. But the DDoSes, I think that's kind of like a joke. I feel like they should have known about this because it's happened a lot in the past with their streams and all that. So I feel like they should have put in more effort. Even if they're going to delay it by 1 day, it's better than to get DDoS. Like, it's very unprofessional, I think.
Is this question referring to like the PvP tournament worlds or the actual tournament itself?
Both.
Okay, so the worlds were fun, although it is kind of like private servery, but I enjoyed it. I went there for a few days, not a few days, but like spent a bit of time there with guys from the clan. It was fun. The tournament itself, like I think it's actually quite a good thing because having it advertised on the Twitch homepage would probably bring quite a lot of memberships to the game. Like if because the amount of people that use the site see that on the homepage, they're probably going to go to the website, maybe start playing again. Yeah, the DDoS thing is just like absolutely ridiculous. Like if it had worked out fine, I think it would have been like a good thing. But the way that it just got DDoS and it just seemed so awful, like the stream, like really unprofessional. It was just terrible the way it turned out, but could have been good if they performed it right, I guess.
I think the PvP worlds were pretty fun. I was actually messing around with them just last night with some friends. Just in the free-for-all, it was pretty fun. And the actual tournament that they were going to have, they said something like have a shot at 10K. Kind of funny because no one actually got it.
I really enjoyed the PvP or the tournament worlds. I was one of the people that had a good time there with the clan, but for the actual tournament itself, I think it's extremely embarrassing how they let themselves or that happen. They should have done everything. They know that they've been prone to attacks, obviously, because they've been hit off many times during live streams, and the fact that they just blindly did this, they didn't even give any thought into it. I'm assuming that at least because they just went ahead and did it, knowing that they were going to be prone. I think that's just a joke, and it's embarrassing that they continued anyways.
Well, my first reaction was that it's kind of private server-esque to give like all those free items or whatever away. I mean, you have, isn't there like Third Age and like Elysians and stuff in there? I mean, like a lot of people like want these items because it's actually an achievement to earn these items. I mean, isn't an Elysian like 800 mil? Like that's like literally 800 hours of rune crafting, and you just wear it for free in a safe PvP or
you
safe
can't.
zone. What do you mean you can't?
It's on the main servers. Everyone gets like vaxxed.
Oh, it's not. Wait, I don't understand. Can't you get like the best items for free though?
Yeah, but just not
They
Elysian
took
because
the
it's
LA out specifically
Oh,
because
okay,
it's the
well-
best in slot shield and everyone would use it.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I guess it would be too OP or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. My thoughts on the DDoS attacks in the tournament. I mean, this sounds really stupid, but like I feel like Pker is very, very heavily involved with RNG, and to see somebody like spec a 70 with an AGS to get $70,000 is absolutely absurd in my opinion. I would rather see someone be really, really good at something like mining, get $10,000 rather than Pker. I'm kind of biased because I'm in the skilling community, but like Pker seems very heavily RNG based. I mean, it seems like hybriding does take a pretty good degree of skill. However, I don't know. It's just like I would rather than put that $10,000 towards Australian servers, even though it wouldn't pay for Australian servers. I'd rather it go towards that. I mean, it's just gonna be hilarious if they host like the tournament in like Mod Matt K's house or something, and you see like the tournament, like the base cam is just like Mod Matt K's kitchen or something with his wife, and they're commentating the tournament from in his kitchen or something. Like, I don't even know, but I kind of like that they're getting competitive with RuneScape though. I think it's kind of interesting. They never really added that aspect besides the high scores, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool, I guess.
I like the idea of a PvP tournament because I feel like it does give. It's exciting because RuneScape's never had a competitive thing where you could actually win a significant amount of real life money, and I suppose it's interesting. I mean, I submitted the team myself. We were a team of all-player moderators, but unfortunately we did not get accepted because we're not cool enough, apparently. So something I didn't like about the tournament was the selection process they used. They were very unclear on what they were looking for specifically, and only 8 teams were selected. Most of these sports competitions have many more teams, and the selection process is quite different. So I don't know how I feel about the way they selected the teams. Furthermore, the tournament worlds themselves are quite fun, I think, but at the same time, it does feel like a private server because you go there, you have max stats, you have access to everything, and I don't know. I feel like I'm glad they're not keeping them because I feel like if they did, some players would just stop playing the main game and would just PK on those private worlds. And it kind of detracts from the whole idea that you should level up to, you've got to grind to advance your account, because on tournament worlds you get everything given to you. As for the DDoSes, I think it's a little frustrating. Jagex is a competent company, and I thought that they would consider hosting the tournament at a different venue other than the Jagex HQ, because the DDoSers were clearly ready. Those streams got DDoSed at excellent times. It was like a minute after the match started, the stream was gone for both matches. So the DDoSers knew what they were doing, and they were quick to DDoS for maximum effect. So I don't know. I don't like that Jagex didn't consider that, and I'm hoping when they do bring the tournament back that they are more careful.
Yeah, admittedly, even though I didn't like it, I think it was kind of fun to watch. Finn, when you were on, I think it was your friend's stream, Wilson's or
Wilson's
whatever.
stream,
I
yeah.
watched quite a few of those battles or whatever, and it was actually pretty cool to watch. I think for me it's more fun to watch than to play, since I did not know what I was doing. I was sitting there.
For a team of skillers, our Solace Clan Pker team is pretty good.
Yeah. Some of you guys did have a background though in PKing, like Bond and Immortals.
No, I've enjoyed the tournament worlds. I'm glad they're going away, and I just hope they take more care with DDoS attempts in future. I like how the stream had 22,000 viewers at once. I feel like it's quite a milestone for RuneScape as a whole, and I like seeing that because I know it brings in new members.
Yeah.
I agree.
If anybody isn't aware, there's a news post on the main page about the PvP tournament. It's being rescheduled to an unspecified date in the future, so we'll just have to wait for updates from ModMattK or Mod Archie in regards to when we'll see the tournament.
I'm kind of curious, like, there's no way they went into that knowing that they wouldn't get DDoSed. Like, did they take, like, any precautions at all? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think they just risked it and hope for the best.
I guess so.
Well, our next question is from a totally different topic, actually. How do you feel about daily farm runs?
I love it. I love the course a lot, like the RD course a lot, but getting away for a bit, 5 minutes or whatever, to do the farm run in the morning and at night is just, they're really fun. I'm kind of upset that I stopped for a bit doing it. I don't think I'll stop, at least for a long time from now, because it's just, they're really fun to do, give a bit of XP, and I kind of have like a small farming goal, I guess, to reach. It's one extra goal, I guess, that helps me play, I guess.
Oh, I love farm runs. Farm runs are so fun. I try and do like minimum 2 a day, sometimes 3, depending on how long I stay up. Yeah, I really enjoy doing them. Yeah, I've probably banked for like 60 mil farming because I don't really have anything else to spend my money on. I also like pay for payments as well because I want faster XP. Yeah, I just love farming, so I don't really mind it. I'd love doing it, to be honest.
I think they're kind of relaxing, especially if you do them kind of in the middle of your day. It's like a quick little break. You get to see some nice little progress over time, and they're fun to do.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy doing them. It's a nice break from whatever skill you're currently working on.
While I do enjoy farm runs, I don't like how farming is like a daily scape thing. I would much prefer farming if trees weren't a thing and you were forced to do watermelons and herbs to 200 mil. Obviously, it may be a better XP rate or whatever, giving a better yield, but I just feel like farming, farming would become so much more respectable if you were forced to go every like 80 minutes as opposed to you could do it for like, I don't know. It just seems like general farming is like 200 hours or something like that. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those skills that I feel like would be like a lot more respectable if you could spend more time on it and stuff like that. I mean, I guess there's the respect value of it costing a lot, but I think it'd be a lot more interesting if you were forced to do allotments and herbs.
I hated farm runs initially. Back when I was going for max, I put off farming to such an extent that farming was one of my last skills. I had farming and prayer, so I had to wait for about 2 weeks to finish my maxing because I was just so lazy with daily farm runs. But I recently got into them and I've started enjoying farming again. I'll probably now do it indefinitely because it's fairly cheap and it's good total XP. So I guess farming is alright. I just didn't like it earlier. Our next question is in reference to an upcoming update. How do you feel about the ability to press the escape key to close the bank? And what do you think will be the impact of this update?
Honestly, I use diagonals for banking, so it's not really like I don't know. It doesn't really affect me anyways. I'll probably just remap my key to escape because sometimes I screw that up when I was doing bank skills. Impact, I think it will give more an advantage to those people that don't use AHK. Like they'll be kind of on, I wouldn't say on par, but it's a bit better for them. I hope they don't do more with it. Like I feel like whatever it is on RS3, like where you can like map your banker. I don't know what it's called, but I hope
Presets.
presets. That's what it is. My bad. I hope they don't go to like that extent with it. I voted no to it just because I use AHK, but I guess it made its way into the game, or will.
I feel like it levels the playing field for people that use diagonals and people that don't. But I'd still prefer if it didn't really come into the game because it's easy skip, I guess.
There's a way to bank if you're doing like the combining skills like herblore, crafting, wines, voice crack.
Wines.
If you're in the cooking guild, you can close the bank almost instantly by being in resizable. And I don't think the escape key would make it any faster.
Yeah, I've seen you do that.
It won't really make things too much faster, but I do feel like since most of the community doesn't really use AHK or diagonals, this will be like a big thing for them, and they may think that just because of this, they might be able to get more quality of life updates that just makes things a little faster and easier.
Dude, are you kidding me? Are you really that lazy to move your mouse like 100 pixels to the freaking X? Like, I thought we didn't want to go to RS3. Like, what is this bullshit? Like you might as well give an update that just takes everything out of your bank and just creates it for you. You might as well. Because there's no more skilling involved, or there's no more skill involved in skilling. Like, it's just like, why? Like, I care about the integrity too much. I'm sorry. Next person.
I respect your opinion, Brad. Although typical
thanks,
enough
man.
assault as expected. I am one of those people who are too lazy to move their mouse 100 pixels, whether that's with an AHK or with a mouse. So I will be quite happy to see the escape key to close the bank because it'll make my life ever so slightly easier while crafting. And I don't really think there will be a big impact because, as Ray mentioned, you can already close the bank very quickly using resizable, and players have been using diagonals to close the bank for months. So it'll be more of a quality of life update for less skilled players who weren't using AHK or resizable efficiently already. But anyways, what are your thoughts on being able to use bonds to pay for runefest tickets? This was a poll question in the Oldschool poll, but it failed. So you can only buy runefest tickets with RS3 bonds currently.
I'm glad it failed in this game. Echo.
Wow.
Okay, well I'm glad it failed. I don't like if it passed, it'd been just another microtransaction kind of thing, and I don't want the game to head in that direction. Yes, I did vote for bonds in the first place, but I kind of thought they're okay. But I don't know. I just don't want there to be more than just being able to buy bonds for membership in this game. I'll vote no to every other thing.
Agree with Oi. I voted no for bonds at the start anyway. But yeah, I don't want bonds to have any more uses than they currently do other than membership, because I think that's the most important thing bonds provide. Although I probably would have gone to RuneFest, to be honest, if you would be able to buy for bonds, because I live like 30 minutes away. So I don't know. But then again, it's on my birthday, so I probably wouldn't have. But yeah.
That's convenient.
In a way, if you're using bonds for RuneFest tickets, that's sort of like selling you GP for something you get in real life, which is basically selling GP for money. So I don't like that.
Considering you can do it on RS3 anyways, I don't really see it being too much of a problem, although it could lead to other things.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I'm sailing on the same boat. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know my opinion on this. Like, somebody needs to answer for me. Like, it's weird because like it does promote more microtransactions in the game. However, it's not actually benefiting, I guess, in any way. I mean, I personally voted no to bonds. It was very obvious that they were blackmailing us into voting bonds into the game so we could have microtransactions. So Jagex makes more money and blah 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 blah.
I think it's kind of strange how you can use runes to get free bonds for runefest tickets, but not old school bonds. But I was ambivalent on the poll question because I suppose you could argue that giving bonds more uses in old school does amount to more forms of microtransaction, and that's something that the community as a whole is very much against. It also makes bonds more expensive, and people use them for membership, so they don't want the price to go up. In any case, I don't really care. I personally bought my runefest ticket with real life money, and I didn't plan on using bonds anyways, so not really much of an opinion on this question. On the other hand, our next question is slightly more interesting. This was asked by Bradfordly himself, so brace yourselves.
Yeah.
What do you think is more respectable? Doing 200 mil fishing through sharks, approximately 13,000 hours of fishing, or free tick barbarian, approximately 2,000 hours of fishing?
Well, I'd say they're both quite respectable because there's no way in hell I'd ever fish sharks for 13k hours. But at the same time, 3-tick fishing, like, it's really impressive. Nobody's done it yet. At the same time, nobody's done 13k sharks. I don't really know what I find more respectable because they're both like pretty insane achievements. I guess I'm gonna go with 3-tick fishing just because I'm like more an efficiency type of guy, and I think that's more my field of stuff rather than just AFKing. I'm looking forward to Brad's response on this.
Oh, me too.
Okay, so I'm not going to give too long of a response because I don't really want to steal Brad's answer. I know he's got a good one lined up. I'm going to go with sharks. I just don't like how everyone, like every skiller in Old School has the mindset if it's not click intensive, then it's not an achievement. So yeah, I'll leave it at that and let Brad finish off my answer for me.
To be honest, when I really think about it, I don't think anyone except for maybe one or two people really far ahead in the future are going to do sharks all the way to 200 mil. But there is going to be a handful of people who are going to 3-tick it. And I know the people who are 3-ticking it are going to be capable of doing the sharks, but I almost feel like doing the sharks would be harder. Like, almost mentally more challenging. So I don't know. Respect is kind of a weird word for this. But I'd probably respect the sharks more if I knew he was only doing sharks and not just horribly slow barbarian and doing like a few hours a day. I don't know. Probably the sharks.
I'm gonna go with the sharks just because I don't see myself doing 13,000 hours or probably 4 to 5 years of fishing sharks, which I don't know. It seems like a very boring thing to do, but I also don't feel like this is very fair to compare the two, as one only takes 2,000 hours and the other takes 13,000 hours. I feel like a better comparison would be something like a bunch of different skills that added up to 13,000 hours or 13,000 hours of fishing sharks. I'd still go with the sharks though.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, everybody and their mother in the high-level skilling community worships the click-intensive methods of Jesus. However, I am under the impression that time played in a skill is the most important thing, or pretty much the most important thing. Do you understand that if you were to do 200 million fishing off sharks outside of Deadman mode, it would literally require 5 years every single day logging on for 8 to 9 hours a day? Just picture that, like just 8 to 9 hours a day every single day for the next 5 years fishing sharks. Do you understand how much IRL commitment you have to sacrifice? And it would just be such an insane. No one has ever spent that many hours in a skill. Not even the almighty Jebram. He has not spent that many hours in a skill. And just You don't understand. Like, I would literally almost like turn gay if you did 200 mil fishing off. Like, I literally like. Do you understand the amount of achievement this is? Especially if you did it straight. Jebram has only done 8. Jebrum's record is like 8.5k hours straight of agility. If you did 13,333 hours of fishing straight, I would literally call you a god. Like, there is no question in my mind that like you would easily be top 5 best players of all time. Like, just. Achievement is the mental challenge of that would be absolutely absurd. Now the common argument is, AFK doesn't require any effort. But the mental effort required to do such an achievement is so outrageous that I don't even think like anyone could ever achieve it. It's just so freaking insane, bro. Okay, like, I mean, I would literally call you God. Like, I don't even. Like, okay, if you were to do 3-tick fishing, okay, hypothetically, let's just say we were Suomi for a second. It would require 4 months of doing 3-tick fishing for 200 mil. And like 4 months compared to 5 years. I mean, it should be a no-brainer, but like apparently people are like, oh, it's click intensive, it's so impressive. Dude, there is 10 million people on this planet that can do freaking 3-tick fishing. Like half of Solace, I can guarantee can do 3-tick fishing. I can do 3-tick fishing. And I'm like, people say, oh, AFK skills or whatever. All I do is AFK agility. No, dude, are you kidding me? Just, okay, I'm done.
But Brad, what if somebody 3-ticked fish sharks?
That was my next
For
point.
200 mil.
Okay, dude, if you did that, literally, like I would S your D. Let's just say that, like, all day. Like, I don't even care. Okay.
Well, as I
Now
expected.
for a more reasonable response here, Swinbar.
Yes, Mini Finbar coming in with a more reasonable response to the question. Although I understand the significant time requirement to obtain 200 fishing via sharks, you cannot overlook the fact that it is so AFK that you could look at your screen once every 5 minutes and just spend the rest of your time doing something else, whether that's playing an alt, focusing on real life, playing other games. I feel like the primary distinction to make between fishing sharks and free-ticking fishing is if you fish sharks, you can do everything other. You can do a whole bunch of other things that don't involve looking at RuneScape. If you free-tick fish, you're going to be looking at RuneScape. So, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say one is significantly more respectable than the other, even when you consider the vast time requirement for sharks, because you can do sharks without looking at the screen, without even really focusing on RuneScape, whereas you can't do Barbarian like that if you're going to be free-ticking. So I believe the focus has to be considered.
Finbar, have you ever spent 13,000 hours in RuneScape?
My total playtime exceeds 13,000 hours, but not for Oldschool specifically.
I mean, there have been times where I'm sure you've burnt out as well. Like, if you were to do just 5 years straight of sharks, like, holy fuck!
Yes, but it's 5 years of not really looking at.
Yeah, but
you're such a devaluing achievement person.
yeah, but they
Dude,
don't have to do it straight. Like they can burn out during it. They could burn out, come back to it in a year while they're studying, and just fish while they're studying.
I don't know.
I think they're both like respectable, and like Viola said, it's hard to compare the two since they're drastically different.
I feel like time
Even though
requirement
they're
can be
same
trivialized if you look at it in the context of time spent actually focusing on RuneScape. The time spent focusing with sharks is significantly less than the time spent focusing on free-tick fishing.
Still going to go with the sharks.
Still gonna go with the free-tick.
Well, I love how we all have differentiated opinions on this. It's kind of interesting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm in between, but I more lean towards the 3-tick.
Sad.
What if
Okay,
you're
next
doing?
question. Sorry.
Hold on. What if you're doing a 200 mil 200 mil fishing with sharks? On an alt, actually 6 alts. You did 200 mil fishing with free-ticking on all 6 of those, and it'd be about the same hours.
What? Damn.
Would you
Some
respect me,
dreadfish.
Brad, if I did that?
I don't even know, dude. This is... I mean, alts are just disgusting. Like,
I feel
next
like
question.
for me, right, I'd actually find it harder, even if it was just for 1 hour. I find it harder to do sharks for an hour than 3-tick for an hour.
This man knows what's
I'd be pretty antsy.
I disagree.
No, because I'd be thinking like I'm wasting so much XP. Like, Oh, I don't know.
You
It
need a
was so
certain
boring. Too.
mindset to embrace sharks.
Yeah.
Fiending
Yeah.
for the E
I've done
EHP.
quite a lot of 3-ting. I think 3-ting is probably easier. Mentally. Not physically, obviously, but mentally it's fucking hard to do sharks.
Anyways, that is the high-level skilling community opinion on sharks versus free tick. Moving on from that interesting topic, though, we've been asked, what is a fear that you have?
Mine is, I don't know why, but it's deep water. Like ocean water or just a lake where you don't know what's under you kind of thing. Like, that just really bugs me. I don't know why.
Just a RuneScape fear or IRL fear.
Oh, I thought it was
Interpret the
IRL.
question how you wish.
Yeah, for RuneScape fear, it is the EHP rate of runecrafting being changed to lava rune. Like, I know I shouldn't care about EHP rates, but I do. I feel like I wouldn't be able to do the method anymore because I'd just be like, oh shit, I'm getting half EHP. IRL fear is like spiders. I don't know. Ray's kind of a man when it comes to spiders, but I don't know. Freak me out, man.
All right, I got trypophobia, which might sound kind of stupid, but it's fear of holes. But it's a real thing, and if you
Those are
look it up,
gross.
you'll have it as well.
Fear of holes, like holes in the ground?
It's like holes in organic material that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, it's really disgusting.
I was gonna say
It
like
freaks you out.
I was gonna say like that would suck if like you like met like a girl or whatever, and then you were like afraid of like organic holes and females. Like,
I'm done.
Weirdest thing I've ever said. Oh god. Yep, gotta think outside the box.
For me, I think my greatest fear could incorporate RuneScape and real life, because I have a big fear of going through sleep paralysis. Trance music and Demgenjo, they terrified me from it. They convinced me that like they get it like every other day, which apparently was a lie. But I don't know, the way they described it was like you just can't move, and like you just feel like pressure on your chest, and like you see like shades of stuff coming in. But like I feel like if I got it, I'd have like, I don't know, someone like logging in or like bringing a laptop, putting it on my chest, like logging into my account, just like dropping all my stuff, and then just botting for like an hour and getting me banned. I don't know. I feel like that's gonna happen. I'm just gonna hallucinate all of that.
Rip.
Oh, it's my turn. Well, basically, I have 3 fears that I basically ranked in the order of the most fearful things. So the rank 1 fear I have on my list, I know you guys are all going to call me sad or whatever for like feeling this way, but I have a really big fear of roller coasters. Like, I absolutely hate the feeling of... Dude, shut up, you freaking 3-tick lover or whatever. But
What's the sharks?
He was the shark guy.
I know, whatever. I absolutely hate the feeling of your heart dropping. It just feels like you're gonna die. It's just I've had like several. I don't even know if you call it sleep paralysis, but have you guys ever had like a dream where like you feels like you're just falling forever? Like I used to have nightmares about that all the time. But yeah, that's my rank 1 fear. My rank 2 fear. You guys are gonna think I'm even more sad. My rank 2 fear is girls. Like I have a really huge anxiety problem with talking to girls. Like I literally like pee my pants, and like I can't even look at them. Like my confidence level goes from like I don't even know. I seriously can't even talk to girls. It's just too impossible. Like it's just like I literally find like getting like freaking 400 mil XP at sharks to be like easier than talking to girls for some reason. I just can't freaking do it. But yeah, and my rank 3 fear is, and people in Solace might find this funny, but my rank 3 fear is speed having tickets. I literally went through the biggest stress time of my entire life because Speed had tickets. It literally forced me to play like 19 hours a day for 3 months because Speed had tickets. And I literally had nightmares every single night about Speed having tickets. And if they increase the XP cap in RuneScape and Speed has tickets, then no, I went too hard for rank 1. It's mine. No.
Damn.
What?
Enlightening. I suppose a real life fear would be getting a form of locked in syndrome, where you suffer from quadriplegia and an inability to speak, but your mental functions are still intact. So essentially, you're just stuck there. You can't interact with the world. You can't communicate, but you're still mentally capable. I think that kind of existence would be horrible. Probably a fate
like-
worse than death, even.
Like a potato?
Yeah, like a potato, but you've still got your mind. So you're in a comatose state, but you're still functional, I suppose, from a mental perspective. I think that would be terrible. As for RS, I don't really know. I fear being falsely banned. I don't think it's very likely, but I would be devastated if that ever happened to me because I would lose so many hours. And generally, the whole policy of false bans is you're guilty until proven innocent, and you can't prove yourself innocent with false bans generally. So if it ever happened to me, I would be screwed, and I just have to go back to RS3 or quit entirely. But again, I don't think it's very likely.
I think your biggest fear is Jake being better than you at Slayer, to be honest.
I don't fear anyone being better at Slayer than me, Brad. Don't worry.
I'm just kidding.
Or being called Mini.
Oh yes, I suppose.
What if you got hacked and then someone changed your name to Any Finbar?
I have
Oh,
to buy a
damn.
bond immediately to change my name back. And
With
save
what
what
money?
dignity I had left.
You have to pay RL money, rip.
Yeah, I had to pay IRR money. Yeah, I don't really have many RuneScape related fears. RuneScape's not a particularly scary game.
That one quest though, with the ghouls down in that pit, that scared me.
A Soul's Bane. Yeah,
Man,
that's
I did not.
terrifying.
Oh man, nightmares.
Of course. Moving on though, we've been asked what are our opinions on the Big Cat community event?
Well, I did the event, got a few nice little cats. I don't know why we keep having these community events. It's not like you're doing something together. I feel like I think they should be pulled. And can't you use bonds for something to like give it away? That's kind of,
Not sure.
you know, it's kind of like charity. It's still kind of like, I don't know, like selling gold kind of thing. I don't like that type of stuff, but yeah, it was kind of fun to do. It was a waste of XP, but I got a few cats out of it. I think Chicklum would be proud.
I actually really like this update. I don't know. I got a little white cat that Oi made me go and get.
It takes 20 seconds.
He's like, "Bon, go get the white cat. Maybe you can 3-tick fish with it." Went, you know, substitute for the reindeer hat. Maybe I went there, and you cannot 3-tick fish with the little white cat. So yeah,
I mean,
wasted
honestly,
like. Yeah, go ahead.
it seems like you should be able to 3-tick or even 2-tick fish with a cat because don't cats like fish? You would think they would allow you to fish faster, right? Because like the fish,
maybe.
it's like the shark outfit from RuneScape 3. You just eat the fish, instant. It wouldn't even put in your inventory. Well, I'm giving Jagex ideas. We're good, but yeah.
Wouldn't the cat be getting fishing experience out of you though?
Oh, that's very interesting. How it would, I don't know.
Catworks is
Yeah.
an alt.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't see it as a problem like not polling this event because it's like doesn't affect the game too much. And charity is a good thing in my opinion. So the more charity events they do, the better the company looks, and like more people they help. So yeah, I'm for charity events.
How much did they raise?
No idea.
I just feel like it should be real money and not like bonds.
Yeah,
Because
but
can't you just?
they give money for bonds that you donate.
Yeah, but I feel like you should still just be able to donate with money rather than just bonds. Like,
You can donate with.
oh
bond,
well,
but
yeah, no,
you
but
pay
they
for it.
shouldn't be no bonds kind of thing. Like, I don't like how they're doing stuff with bonds. I don't know.
Hey, you voted for them.
Oh, yeah, I
you
did.
voted.
I'm a bad boy.
Bad away.
Bad boy.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the event at all, but the charity is good.
Okay. It's first of all, we didn't pull it, and second of all, it devalues level 1 to 20 farming, which I don't know. I value that a lot, and now that if I make a new account and if I make it after this event, I'll know that I have to do 1 to 20 farming the other way, and people who make an account now were able to do the event, which is extremely unfair. So
Wait, what the? Explain, please. How do you get 1 to 20 farming? You just get it from the event.
you get XP in the
You
event.
yeah, you plant stuff.
Dude, that devalues that one quest that gives you farm like the friggin' Fairy Tale Part 1 or something, or the. The quest that gives you farming or whatever.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
plant
right.
tall grass or whatever, and then like trees, and you get XP from them.
Okay. Well, I'm extremely ignorant to the event because I don't know. Like, they just told me about it before this podcast. But basically, I think it's bull shrimp because they are putting content into the game which is not polled. And guess what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to introduce the Squeal of Fortune without a poll too, and say that's justified, or they're going to blackmail us or something. That's going to be so fun. But I don't even know what to say about the event. I mean, like, what am I supposed to? I mean, it's just cosmetic kitties. Like, I mean, Jiglim's flipping out. I don't know what else to say. I didn't get it myself just because I found it to be XP waste. But yeah.
Personally, I don't have much of an opinion on the event. I haven't even done it yet because I'm lazy and don't want to leave the GE, but I'll get around to it at some point. I guess the charity angle's nice, but I don't really have an opinion on it. I'm kind of glad they released the cats as toys rather than pets, otherwise we'd be seeing them everywhere. So
Pets
I think
great.
it's sensible of Jagex to do it that way. But moving on from that, the next question we've been asked, which was actually asked by Bradfordly, was what are your thoughts on removing the 200 million XP cap for skills?
Ooh, I don't think I'd like that. The only way I guess I'd be for that is they capped it, but it was like on the side kind of thing, like where it didn't affect overall ranks because then everyone just would cook, and then they do Karams, and with the Karam money they'd fletch, and it'd just be vice versa nonstop. If you're going for ranks, it'd defeat the purpose of ranks. But if they did it in like such a manner where it'd be like, it would show who got to first at 200 mil, then in brackets it'd show their like post XP from 200 mil. Like I think that'd be kind of okay. I don't even know. Like I wouldn't want it, but that's the only way like it'd be justified for me, and it'd still just remain the first person who got to 200 mil, and there'd be like no ranks above that.
That's a good idea. I like that. I feel like they should still cap, and it should not count towards overall XP. Your 200 mil rank should stay the same on the higher scores, and I think it would actually be a good idea because people like Tails, who I think is planning to go for 200 mil hunter again after he completes 200 mil on his main, you'd actually be able to see the extra, like his other achievement that he's getting on his other account, because some people might look at his account and not know that he's done another 200 mil hunter. So if they had that, then I think it'd be like a pretty good idea.
They could do it in a way where you still kept your 200 mil rank. I think that'd be good because not everyone can keep playing forever and competing for the ranks. I kind of like how there's a race to the first 200 mils, but I think you could do post stuff somehow, like I guess like not count for overall XP. Then like the rank 1 people overall, they could just do like wines forever, and then with the extra money they've made from their alt, just do fletching and repeat, and they'll be like 20 billion XP, and that's kind of dumb.
So
I guess if it,
sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So yeah, as long as it doesn't count for overall XP past the 200 mil, but it still somehow shows up, then I think it'd be good.
I definitely agree that if there was no cap, that 1, it should not affect your overall XP whatsoever. 2, it should not affect your perm rank, because I feel like people value that a lot, and if they added that like in the middle of the game, it'd just be messed up. There'd be new rank 1s, but I do think it would be cool if they had like a separate high scores, like to click to the side, like where the Ironman is or something, like where you could say post 99 XP or post 200 mil XP. So, like, there is like more competition post 200 mil.
I mean, I would flip out if they introduced an update like this because I would get to do agility again, and I would definitely do it off dork this time. But I think that it would be cool if they introduced an update like similar to Prestige mode, or I don't know if you guys know what Prestige mode is, but basically it was an update where you were able to do post 200 mil XP and count the Prestige. I think they should do it like that. However, I think it should be counted every single 200 mil you do, rather than every single 99 you do. Or it's not really 99. It's because it doubles in XP every single time you get past the Prestige. I think it should just be they should just simplify it and do every single time you get a 200 mil, you go past the prestige. Now, it's very debatable whether it should count towards total XP, because you could just essentially just do 200 mil cooking until the cows come home, and then it would look, the high scores would probably be like 10 bill for everyone, and it would be kind of pathetic, to be honest. But I mean, they could do a separate prestige high score, like Harm was saying, like a separate high score like Ironman, where it would only show the XP past prestiges. But no, I think it'd be very interesting, because then it would definitely show like the stamina and how much you actually like love that skill, like who actually does have like the most time played in a skill. Because even if they do increase the XP rates, I mean, the people that are ahead will have done it at a slower XP rate probably. So I don't know, I mean, it's very interesting. I guess one reason why you wouldn't want to introduce this update is just because it's very unhealthy. I mean, you would literally have people like playing like 20 hours a day to try to keep rank 1, because the XP is endless. Unless it ended at like 1 bill XP for a skill or something like that, you'd I don't know, you just have like people like playing a ton to try to keep rank 1. But it'd be interesting competition, I guess.
Personally, I would like to not see an increase in the cap beyond 200 mil XP. I feel like my life would lack putative meaning if XP kept going forever. I like there is a ceiling which I can aspire to achieve, rather than continuously go on and on and on. It feels quite nihilistic almost, the idea of just training forever in a skill without ever reaching completion. Although, as has been stated by other people, I think it would be okay if you were able to keep your permanent rank that you achieved when you reached 200 mil the first time, and if it didn't affect total experience. However, one could argue that if it doesn't affect your total XP and your rank stays the same at 200 mil, then what's the point? And as mentioned, they would have to change the way Jagex stores XP data. Currently, they use those 2-bit unsigned integers, which wouldn't really work because XP is stored to 1/10 of an XP currently, so they'd have to change how they do it, because they'd have to account for values greater than 214.7 mil XP, which would probably require quite a bit of engine work.
Yeah, one like interesting thing is like let's just say that like rank 10 agility got 200 mil before faster than rank 1 agility. I feel like it would almost like, I mean, you could betterly define who's better at agility, like who plays more with agility. Like, because their current ranking system just does who got it first, but I feel like if there was a unlimited amount of XP, it would actually show who has like the most XP. I already kind of said that, but yeah.
Just an interesting bit of trivia in regards to the XP limit in RS. There was a case back in pre-EOC where a player with 200 mil Dungeoneering XP, but over 20 million Dungeoneering tokens got hacked. The hacker used all his tokens at once on DG XP to waste them, but what happened was quite unexpected. The player who had 200 mil DG was still 200 mil on high scores, but he was level 1 in-game, with almost 200 mil XP required for a level. It was like the XP had rolled over, and he was level 1 DG in-game, but he was still 200 mil on the high scores. So, technically, you could probably accomplish the same thing with agility if you were able to get enough tickets to gain more than 14.7 mil agility XP at once at 200 mil.
Well, Brad, you know what you're doing now.
You know what Speed's doing?
Actually, I don't think it would work because you can only use 1,000 tickets at a time. They changed DG tokens so you could only use 1 million at a time after that happened, but previously you were able to use any quantity at once.
Do you think it would work with wines, cooking?
Theoretically, yes. Although, no, yeah, I don't see why not.
There's actually an instance that Finbar and I were recently discussing earlier today. Is they in early like 2006 or so, like the first player to ever get 200 mil fletching, he actually got passed by rank 2 because they didn't actually have a cap at the time, and so rank 2 actually was rank 1 for probably a couple months because they didn't know how to fix it. Because they set the cap at exactly 200 million.
They hadn't accounted for players, multiple players reaching 200 mil in the skill, so it behaved not as intended when that happened. Yeah, interesting concept. Moving on though, we have been asked who do you think is the most underrated player along with the most overrated player, in your opinion?
Oh my. I'll get back to you on this. Somebody can go first. I'll think about my answer.
I don't really want to go either. I don't like calling people out. Or like,
Yeah, I don't know either.
So I'm not going to say overrated, but I guess for underrated, I'd say something like Beleg. I think he's got a lot of XP in one skill, a lot of hours. He's a really humble guy, nice lad. I think the people that know him rate him very highly, but he's not very, I wouldn't say he's like extremely well known in the community, but I think he's achieved quite a lot on his account. I really like his build, and he's like really humble, so it just adds to like how much I respect him. So yeah, I'm going to say Beleg.
For underrated, for top people, might have to say Maltlickies, because he's rank 8 EHP, and he'd be even higher if you don't include people like Sick Nerd and the runners for RC. But I feel like people don't talk about him too much for the whole EHP thing. And I don't know. I almost think of him, he's kind of just hiding right there. He's able to do quite a lot for 200 mil wall, but I don't know if he will.
I feel like it's probably like an obvious answer, but I feel for underrated, I definitely would say Cap King. He puts so many hours into what he does. I mean, he could be a lot farther in the high scores if he were to actually try. That's inefficiency, but like people just don't take him seriously because of it. Like he has so much potential, but just no one takes him seriously. And I'm not really sure for overrated. I guess you could say Zazima because he is highly fanboyed and he is really good in my opinion. He has a lot of time played. Bradfordly respects that. Although I think he's praised way too much. I guess he was good for his time, but yeah.
I guess for underrated player, most people I guess don't really consider him, but Jake, if you guys don't know who Jake is, he has a lot of XP on RS3 as well, but he actually has the most amount of time played in old school RuneScape without 6-hour guthans, and for that I definitely respect him. He's a very, very consistent no-lifer over the years. He has like 3.6 or 7k hours in Slayer, which could be very close to how many hours Maltlickies has, because he doesn't use a cannon and he uses like a Sarah sword for Slayer, which is obviously like 20k an hour or something, and so I definitely respect inefficient achievements. As for overrated achievements, I would probably say I honestly don't really have one overrated person, because I don't really like who's like one person in the community that, like, I don't know, but I would probably say anyone on the top page that purely does like the fastest skills and stuff like that. Like I don't know, it's just like it just kind of like the reason I say this is just because I don't value total XP. I value time spent in a skill or EHP more than total XP, because in my opinion total XP is completely irrelevant to EHP, because 200 mil agility is not equal to 200 mil cooking, is what I'm trying to say. So if you have like somebody like Volini who has 200 mil, or well, actually that's a bad example. Let's just say Acid Soul, who is among the top players, who could easily be top page in terms of EHP. He obviously isn't, because he isn't max and stuff like that. So I would definitely say like people who just go for total XP. I feel like some of them might even do it for just overall just attention or whatever. I don't know. I just rank 1 agility is overrated.
I'd say for underrated, I think both Maltlickies and Cat King, due to the significant amount of time they put into the game, but the relatively, at least in the case of Cap King, he hasn't achieved as much as he should have, but he still has achieved a lot, and he's very consistent. He doesn't care what other people think of him and what methods he uses, so I like his attitude towards the skilling community, where he prioritizes personal enjoyment and fulfillment over meeting the expectations of other top players. Although that said, his vice is that if he played efficiently, he'd probably be in the top 3. In the case of Maltlickies, he has stuck with Slayer since Oldschool came out, and he knows it's getting faster, but he still trains it anyways because he enjoys it. I respect that attitude. And both players are humble and don't get involved in skilling drama. As for overrated players, I think there are some players on the top page who are only on the top page because they do fast skills or they've received help doing those fast skills, and I think it gives them almost inflated achievements. So, yeah, just some top page players, I suppose, are what you could call overrated.
All right, I found someone for underrated. Can't think of anyone for overrated without calling people out. So underrated, Cappy42, the god. Comes out of nowhere just with like an 8 mil agi week, doesn't play for about a few months, then comes out of nowhere again with like a 9.2, coming the closest yet to be the Lelador's insane week. I think that's quite impressive. Doesn't seem like he gives a shit. Just comes in, plays a shit ton, and leaves again. I just find it funny. I think he's quite underrated with that week. Nobody really talks about him.
Legend.
Yeah. Our next question is, what do you think of Vestfold's rap?
Do I hear a beat? Yeah, I hear a beat. Well, the rap, it originally started with Vior and I writing a rap for Vestfold with him putting in points and what he wanted to talk about. If you didn't know, I also did a take on it, a cover. I think it's pretty funny, even though it's calling people out, and I think he did a good job. It's really funny.
I knew the video was coming out before it came out. That video, I was crying. Like it's probably the best. It's probably the best video on YouTube. Like his voice is just perfect for that. Like that's just so funny. Everything he says just sounds funny. Like I don't know, he's a legend, man. That is credits to Vior and Oi for writing it, but that video is just so funny. I had to watch it twice.
Oh yeah, and Jeet for giving the beat. Can't forget about that.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it yet, but I know it's gonna be really amazing. So I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it like 50 times in consecutive order right after this podcast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun writing it, and if anybody else wants a rap about them, Owen and I will be selling rap or lyrics, 5 mil each line. But yeah, I really, I didn't expect it to actually follow through. I thought it was just gonna be something we talked about at TS, and it didn't happen. But it was, I don't know, I died laughing.
It is great.
Yeah, I mean, Vestfold for rank 1 IRL, to be honest. No, I thought it was pretty cute. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why, but I have like a really hard time understanding like Norwegian accents and stuff like that or whatever. So I don't know. It was kind of funny though. But I think a more important subject would be to talk about Vestfold's week. He did a 12.4 mil fishing week, all 3 tick, which is absolutely absurd. I mean, that's insane.
Would have been better with sharks, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so funny today. No, but
They did a great job.
I mean, doing like 140 hours of sharks in a week is pretty intense. But yeah, really respect him for that.
I think the rap was quite amusing. The beat was rampant, and I respect Oi and Vior for creating such inspiring lyrics. Just some of the lines selected were superb. In any case, I respect both Vestfold for doing the rap and his fishing week, which is very impressive. Over 2 mil more than rank 2, and I wish him luck on his 50 mil month. I hope we see more raps to come, because I believe should Vestfold retire from efficient skilling, a promising music career is a possibility.
On the topic of the week, I think it's actually really impressive. Up there with some of the best week records, not because of the hours, but because of the click intensity of the skill. Being able to maintain such a high XP rate like all day for that long is very impressive in my eyes. I don't think the record's going to be touched for like quite a long time. So
Yeah, for those who don't know, he pretty much maintained 90 to I think 93k XP an hour for 19.5 to 21 hours a day, which is absolutely insane. I don't think anybody's ever done anything close to that.
Yep, very impressive. That concludes all the questions that we've been asked. The topic we have left was a discussion that we plan to have in regards to how do you guys feel about staking as a money-making method as opposed to altscape, as opposed to donations? How do you rank these skilling methods, and what are your opinions on them?
All right, so for staking, I don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it out to be. Nobody complains about the people that lose money, only the people that gain. And I find that really silly because people go into the arena risking it all, and yeah, people lose it. I don't think it's that bad. I wish it wasn't there, of course. I've thought this even before I went staking, and yes, I did lose. I think I lost about 60 mil. I think it's fun. Yeah, it was a fun time. But compared to other money-making methods, I don't think it's bad as altscaping because altscaping's guaranteed money made. So it's like there's a risk factor in staking that people don't seem to think about when people win a ton of money, and they only like I don't know. I don't respect it, but it's I don't frown upon it, I guess.
Even though I've done some stakes, I do frown upon it as a money-making method, but not as much as obviously donations, because that's probably the worst. But alts probably in the middle, and then staking last, like least worst, whatever. But I have done it, lost quite a lot, probably like 150 mil total. Not even like it was fun. Don't regret doing it. But as a money-making method, I frown upon it, but not too much. Like I'd be a hypocrite if I said I was really against staking or whatever, but I don't see it as a big problem due to the risk factor. It takes a lot of balls to stake big. So, I don't know.
I don't really have any experience staking. Like, over a year ago, I staked like 1 mil, lost it, and I was really sad about it, and that's all I ever did. Long term, I don't really think it can be a money-making method. So, I wouldn't really consider it bad, I guess. I don't know though. I don't really have too strong of an opinion on it.
I used to be strongly against staking, but I even viewed it as worse than altscape, but lately I am under the idea that staking, donations, and altscape are all zero-time money-making methods. They're all equally bad, I guess you could say. But if I had to rank them, I'd probably say donations, as you are literally doing nothing and just getting handed over money. Donations be second worst, as you have some risk to it, and I guess you're spending a little bit of time on, unless you're doing it on alts, but I don't know. You're spending some time, there's a lot of risk involved in it. Then worst being alts, as it's consistent money making. And I mean not the worst being alts, but the least worst, as although it's zero time, there is some effort into it, I guess. You feel good?
Oh, sorry.
Nah, I'm good.
I had to actually think about this for quite a bit because I don't even really. I mean, I guess I really actually dislike staking a lot because of the potential that you can double your money. Essentially, you could literally runecraft for 1,000 hours, which is that 100 bill or 1 bill? I don't even know, but you could essentially double that to get like 200 mil or 2 bill, and it's essentially making it like you're essentially getting 2 times the GP per hour potentially. However, there is like the idea that you can get into a loss, but I guess I'm just such a negative Nancy, and I look at the positive. I look at the GP gained. I mean, like. But honestly, staking has never really been a big income for any RuneScape players. I mean, I think an RS3 was for a couple people, but it was never really a consistent form of GP just because it was inconsistent. But
Just
the way I
to
rank
intercept that, you realize several RS3 players made a significant amount of money from staking, right?
I know there's a couple who did it, but whatever. But the way I would rank it is actually very interesting, and pretty much a lot of people will disagree with me. But anyway, I would say staking is probably the least. Like, I don't even know. Like, staking is the most respectable, I guess, because it requires some balls. But then I would say donations is the second worst. And then I would say alts is the worst. Now you might be thinking, Brad, why are alts worse than donations? Good question. For 99% of people, donations would not be a consistent form of money. You could not go up to like a random person in game and be like, yo, give me 100 mil. Like it's just not gonna happen unless, that's why I said very special cases with people like Sicknerd. If Sicknerd wanted to, he could literally get 200 mil buyables in terms of donations. That's why there's a special case. because alts are unlimited GP per hour, a consistent form of money, I view them as worse than donations. I mean, donations donations could even be classed like, I don't know. I feel like alts are more of an unlimited GP supply than donations, because you could probably go for years without getting a significant amount of donations. So I mean, I don't know. I have a very different opinion from most people on that, just because I view consistent GP onto the account to be more significant than random. Like, if you play for 5 years, you might not even be able to afford 5.2 bill XP in pure donations. Alts, I mean, you could probably get 200 all skills with an alt in like, okay, actually, I don't even want to make a random estimate, but I feel like it might take like 2 years on an alt or something like that of purely altscape to get 200 all. So, I mean, you're not really guaranteed 200 all with donations. So that's the way I'll rank that.
Interesting points. As I'll look at it sequentially, staking, from personal experience, I have been known to take strolls at the duel arena and perhaps partake in some friendly duels. And I don't think staking is too bad, because it's maximum risk for maximum reward, you could say. It's not quite zero time, but it is very low time. And of course, you can double your bank or you can lose your bank. So I don't know. Not many top players in Oldschool rely on staking as a way to make significant amounts of GP. I think Andrew Wiggins is probably the only Oldschool player who has made a lot of money from staking, and he hasn't lost it somehow. I mean, he gave away some of it, but he still has several billion left. As for donations, in an ideal world where a player receives consistent donations, that is the most game-breaking thing I think you can possibly have, because it's zero time, zero effort, maximum reward. But as Brad astutely pointed out, very few players are in a position where they could receive consistent donations. I don't think there is a single player in Oldschool right now who could rely on donations to 200 mil all. So I'm not particularly concerned about donations as a risk for competing on top age, but I would say it's worse than staking, and it's worse than alts, ideally, if the player is receiving consistent donations. Finally, altscape, it's zero risk, it's relatively low effort usually, and it is unlimited reward. So, the reward is proportionate to the amount that you altscape, so I don't really like that, and I could say it's not as bad as donations, if you look at donations as consistent money all the time, but in reality I'd say it is worse than donations, because you're going to make more money from an alt than you are from donations, and it's, again, practically zero time GP. So I believe Brad raised a very good point, pointing out that donations are not something that you can rely on getting, unless you're very famous. Yeah, Sick Nerd is probably the only Oldschool player who could have relied on donations, and he would have received them. Nobody else is really in a position where they could get consistent donations.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, my brain can't jumble around if I think staking is bad or not, because I feel like if you stake and you win, that's the only time where it's going to be significant. But if you stake and you lose, you might not quit, but I feel like you have a high chance of quitting if you're going to lose. If you're willing to stake all of your money, I feel like you're on the verge of quitting anyway. So I don't know.
The way I see staking is you're essentially gambling time to 200 mil all.
Yeah.
If you win your stake, you decrease the time to 200 mil all proportionally based on how much you win. But if you lose your stake, then you're losing time to 200 mil all. So I look at staking as gambling time, if anything, because you can assume that money takes time. But yeah, I just noticed Boggs in the Twitch chat points out that alts still take effort. I agree. But depending on the kind of alt, it can be very low effort. For example, a Cannonball alt or Wyvern alt is relatively low effort for unlimited reward because it's zero time GP.
There's still no time wasted.
Yeah.
And no risk, as Barb pointed out earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly, whereas staking has a risk. I think the community as a whole looks upon donations as the worst. Because they see it as zero time, zero effort, maximum rewards, and consistent. But there's only one player in Oldschool so far who's received a large donation, enough to change his position on the top page. So I don't think we're going to see that again for a while, because that was quite a special circumstance, I could say.
here's another question that I'm kind of curious on. Would you guys take donations?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I'm currently in World 86. Backstory Falls if anyone's interested.
Oh, good.
No, I don't.
Because I don't have any GP related goals. I don't know. Like most of my skills I'm going for are slower and not viable, so I wouldn't have a need for the money. And also, I don't really understand people that hate on like Randy so much, because I think it was Trickle who said this. Like, I'll start hating on Randy once I turn down a 1.7 bill donation. Like,
Good quote.
I feel like the most of the people that hate on him would take the donation in his shoes. So I feel like, yeah, shouldn't really be bashing him so hard.
Personally, I don't really care if it's a 1 GP or a 1.7 bill donation. I would never take a donation.
I don't think I would either.
It's just so against my morals to like save that many hours, and I think it's completely justified for how much hate you're gonna get.
A part of me, if somebody offered me a max cash stack, I would want to take it, but at the same time, I know I couldn't, just because it clashes with my own morals quite fundamentally, and it would seriously detriment my reputation as a high-level skiller, plus a leader of a skilling clan. I don't think I could do it, even if, no matter how much money I was offered.
Yeah.
Because I value my reputation and my morals above RSGP.
But it's very interesting because I was discussing this on the Solace TS earlier. It's just it's such an interesting subject to discuss. Like, why is it respectable to win the lottery IRL, but if you start taking donations on a video game, wow, you're absolutely terrible at life, and you'll never be respected for the rest of your life. It's just so weird.
It's just the way people measure success is different in RuneScape, I suppose. It's easier to quantify because we've got a high score. We don't really have a real life high scores.
Yeah,
so.
I suppose.
I wouldn't say it's respectable to win the lottery. Just got lucky.
Well, okay,
How's
I feel
that
like you'd be frowned
respectable?
upon by your family.
I didn't mean that. I mean like losing respect for winning the lottery.
Oh.
That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
I guess because money IRL is like you need to kind of survive. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess like RuneScape is heavily it's like in the skilling community, it's heavily achievement based. Like there's like you don't really go around IRL and like say I worked at McDonald's for 10 hours a day and call that an achievement. Well, I mean I would, because like if you work for McDonald's for your entire life, that is like the most respectable achievement in the world. Do you understand? That's like $7 an hour for like 50 years of your life. Like holy crap, that's like literally doing sharks to 200 like 7 times normal fishing. No, more than 7 times. Oh my god, dude, holy crap, that'd be amazing. But anyway.
No, I suppose you can draw a contrast between how people view donations in RuneScape as opposed to real life. But yeah, I'm going to go with staking is better than donations, which is better than alts in terms of the game as it is now. Ideally, staking is better than alts, which is better than donations. But as we pointed out, there are no players who can get guaranteed donations to fund 200 more.
Yeah, you and Brad have changed my opinion on the donations thing. Like before, I would have said it was worse than alts, but now, due to reasoning, I'm probably going to change my opinion.
People can look at donations as, oh my god, 0 times 0 effort GP, but as we pointed out, so few people actually get donations that it's less of an issue in the high-level skilling community.
I mean, there's even very few cases on RS3 where it's happened. I mean, like, significantly, like Suomi and Jake are really the only
main cases.
Scuzzy5, if any of you guys know him, he also uses a lot of donations. But yeah.
It's unlikely we'll see it in Oldschool either, I don't think.
I feel like it's gonna happen if like one top pager quits or something like that and gives it to like one of his friends that's also a top pager or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yes. Let's say Jagex quit and he gave all his money to Oscar because they're both in Slay Stars, for example. Yeah. Then that would be quite game changing.
I mean, Sickner had like 600 mil GP or something like that before when he quit for his Ironman. He could have easily donated that to like anyone on top page, and they could have gained a massive amount of time.
Interesting way to look at that. Does anyone have any more comments to add on that before I move on to the next question?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Nope.
The last question we have for this podcast, which is one that was asked by the Twitch chat, is what are your opinions on alternative skilling methods, for example, motherlode mine or AFK fishing?
Well, if that's really what you want to do, then go for it. But I wouldn't say it's respectable. Like, unless like Brad said, unless you put a shit ton of hours into it.
Well, is this assuming that it is AFK though, as an alternative method?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah. I guess it gives some people more options to do things like MLM. Like, I know Tails, like, he can't really do Corey due to Aussie ping, so I guess it helps him with that. I guess that's kind of nice. But overall, it doesn't really bother me if people do other skilling methods that aren't like the most efficient thing. Like, it's their choice in the end.
Boy, can I ask you a question really quick? Because
Yeah.
you said you respect 2K hours of 3-tick fishing more than 13,000 hours of fishing. How many hours of fishing off sharks would you need it to be better than 2K hours of 3-tick fishing?
Good question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you.
13,001 probably.
Well,
No, I don't-
13,333.
I don't know, because I said they were both respectable. I don't, that question was hard to answer, I guess. Like, I don't, they're both respectable, so I don't really know. I just
Sorry for
like
asking the question.
3-tick fishing more or whatever, because like I'm kind of brought up in that thing, like most efficient kind of methods. That's what I kind of looked at for the longest time. So I don't know though. You had good points on that.
Okay, so this question I don't know. I feel like it's okay if it's balanced right. Like with fishing, I think is a perfect example. You can AFK it for about 55k an hour if you drop full invent. I think that's pretty well balanced. So you can put effort in and get around 100k. I think with MLM, it's probably a bit too close to Quarry. I feel like if motherlode mine has less profit or a bit less XP per hour, I'd probably be more okay with it. So yeah, it all comes down to the balancing, in my opinion. But I like that there are alternative methods as long as they're balanced well. For people like Aussies, like always said, like Tails can't really do grind very well, so motherlode's a good option for him. So yeah.
Although I said earlier I don't like motherlode mine, I can still understand it why people want to do it because it is easier. And for fishing, I like the idea that you can AFK it and get slower rates or put in more effort, like more click intensive, and then get faster XP rates. So I can understand both sides.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'd like to add was I wish, I think always said this the other day, I wish that the methods for more click intensity was intended for like fishing and stuff, so people can view it as a bug or like something like that. If it was intended 3-ticking, then I think it would be more like better than like an arguable like bug abuse.
I honestly like the concept of having a non-AFK but significantly faster XP per hour method, and then a pretty AFK and then a lot less XP per hour method. But for the case of motherlode mine, I do not like how close in efficiency-wise, if assuming you don't use alts or flip, it is to the quarry, considering all the profit you get. I think at one point it was even more efficient than the quarry, and I think currently it's like 90% efficient. It's pretty OP in my opinion.
Damn, it's 90% efficient. I'm assuming that's without alts, obviously, right?
Yeah, no alts.
Yeah.
Okay. But my opinion on the subject is, I mean, in a perfect world, I would prefer if there was obviously no AFK methods. However, there are. It's also a case-by-case basis because, I mean, 200 mil mining off granite is obviously extremely respectable. However, 200 mil mining at motherlode mining is also extremely respectable as well. I mean, you're looking at like a 5k per hour 200 mil. And it's not like extreme. It's not like very AFK like rocktails or anything. I mean, you still have to like look at your. You can't really AFK for like. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong because I've never really done MLM, but like you can't really AFK for more than like 10 seconds or so. So it's not like the world is coming to an end. I don't know. I mean, but I don't remember who brought it up. I think it was Bond, but yeah, I really wish like things like 3-tick fishing and like 3-tick woodcutting or whatever, 4-tick woodcutting. I wish those things weren't classified as bugs because I really don't like the idea of using a using another method or item to make a method faster. I think that's kind of a bit sketchy in my opinion. Like, I don't know, it's just I don't like things that are not intended for the game. In my opinion, that's just a bit sketchy. But I guess it honestly depends on the XP per hour. Like I've often been asked, Brad, would you respect more 200 mil mining at Granted or 200 mil mining at MLM? And I would probably say Granted, honestly, because of the click intensity of it. But yeah, I don't know. They're both very, very impressive achievements, in my opinion.
I personally don't dislike alternative skilling methods. I feel that they do provide more diversity for skills, and if people want to do something different, then they can feel free to do so. I think the case of Motherload Mine specifically, the problem with it was they made it too good compared to Granite, and ideally I would have preferred for it to be slightly slower. Dark Crabs, I think, are quite balanced in my opinion. They are a lot of profit, but they are significantly slower than even 5-tick barbarian fishing. And I guess it's good that we have multiple methods for 99 the skill. One method that is, say, you could objectively easier because it's less click intensive and perhaps it makes you money. And then you have the non-AFK method. So yeah, I don't really have a negative view of alternative skilling methods. And they can be good for multitasking. So that's another aspect to consider. If every method in this game was non-AFK, it would be quite hard to multitask RuneScape efficiently with any kind of real-life commitment.
Yeah.
Then it would be kind of interesting because, like, I feel like if there was no AFK methods in game, I feel like every RuneScape player would be a lot better. Well, maybe not better, but like I feel like they'd be a lot more manly and I don't know.
That's lazy.
Because like I know a lot of RuneScape 3 players. Like here's just a random example: Paper Bag. He loved doing non-AFK things, like he did 200 mil agility or whatever, and like he didn't like the AFK skills. But then like he had like 6 AFK skills left, and now he tells me that he can't even do AFK or non-AFK skills anymore. So yeah, I mean, I feel like AFK skills definitely take away from that.
I can speak from experience in transitioning from sitting in Nightmare Zone to thieving after 200 mil death was quite difficult because I went from an extremely AFK method to a very non-AFK method, and it does take getting used to. But once I'd finished for thieving, I felt like crafting was too AFK because I was not clicking enough as opposed to when I was doing plunder. But yeah, it's just perspective, I suppose, and conditioning over time. That concludes all the questions we have for the podcast as we are running out of time. Are there any concluding thoughts people would like to share?
I'd like to thank Bradfordly for the wonderful podcast performance.
Yep.
Great guest, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
I just want to say that Lord Speed is the true rank 1 agility.
I'd like to say more raps will be made in the future with me and Vior. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say the additional length of this podcast more than makes up for the fact that it was delayed by 2 weeks, so I hope everybody has enjoyed it.
Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Bye.
the next podcast will be released on the 1st of September, so look out for that. Goodbye, everyone.
Shout out to you, Lavero. Bye.
Yeah.
See you.